Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Umineko Chapter 7. I have a feeling we're headed towards the end of this chapter, but we may have some time yet to go. We have discovered almost everything at this point. The truth of Battler's sin, who Beatrice is, and presumably this is the Beatrice that gives Maria the letter, and who Maria is playing with when she claims Beatrice is real. This is yet another Beatrice, but not one that is new from people who were watching last time. So, let's dig in and see what's going on as we watch the scenario unfold. I think this is going to be the scenario where the epitaph gets put up, and we're going to see Shannon's reaction to that, as well as probably the other family members and what they think of suddenly having a fixed image of what Beatrice is supposed to look like. Men in work clothes were spreading a tarp over a section of the hall. From the way they measured the wall and set out the tools, it could be seen that they were planning some sort of construction project. This is of the utmost importance to the master. Be sure you don't damage it. The president of the construction company nodded his head several times to show he understood. And then 6 young workers carried in a large rectangular object wrapped in a white sheet. Okay, careful there. Set her down gently. I said gently. Is this the spot? Great, let's get started. Apparently they were putting something large onto the wall of the hall. I mean, to be fair, if you have like 2 random a set of random drapes, they should be draping over something rather than just a random segment of the wall. Like, look, left side drapes, right side drapes, center, absolutely nothing. It's like they sealed the wall or the window and then didn't bother removing the drapes and the support structure for them, because it'd look weird to have like a one of those things for holding drapes, whatever they're called. Anyway. Plans to hang that thing there. What he wants. After all, this mansion is little more than one of Father's toys. Natsuhi took a deep breath. Though this was a whim of Kinzo's, a man she greatly respected, she seemed to resist the idea of hanging it right here in the entrance hall, the face of the mansion. Dude, the entrance hall looks fucking empty. When the white sheet was pulled off, a Western woman wearing a beautiful dress came into view. It was a massive portrait of a woman. Is it proceeding well? Yes. They'll be finished by this evening. Also, if this is the room they're in and the wall behind us is where the portrait's supposed to be, this is a fucking huge empty room. Holy shit. Like, there is nothing going on in this room. There is a picture of Beatrice, and, like, nothing else in here, other than lights. What a waste of space. I'd like to see it hanging there for all to see as soon as possible. I want you overseeing this, my friend. Leave it to me. Father. It seems a splendid portrait. Indeed. Quite exceptional quality. I'm satisfied. This is your benefactor, the woman who gave you the gold, right? Indeed. If I had not met Beatrice, I wouldn't be here, nor would the Ashiromiya family, nor, of course, this mansion. It's only natural her portrait be displayed in the best possible location. Now that he'd said it this bluntly, there could be no contradicting him. Kraus and Natsuhi could only shrug. Master. The epitaph plate is here. Please check to see that all is in order.
一言一句間違っていてはな
Each
ら
and
んか
every
ら
word
な。
must be correct. Epitaph? Kraus and Natsuki crooked their heads and followed Kinzo. Ah, a zoom in on the actual epitaph plate. The leader of the workers set down a plate wrapped in a sheet. Okay, and we can see it here. Oh, it's written in Japanese, and it's pretty legible, honestly. I mean, I do have one complaint about Japanese, and I guess that would be by extension Chinese, is that you can read some of these clearly, and some of these you have to guess what they're supposed to be drawn like, which is kind of frustrating. For example, like the first character in the first line here. To a native speaker, that might be really obvious, but to me, or to someone with really good eyesight, that's obvious, but to me, that's fucking atrocious. Like, how is someone who has low vision or like is visually impaired supposed to see that? Like, if you're not amazing at reading, it's really hard to read these characters. And even if you scaled some of these up, they'd be really, really bad. Like, you can see some of them are really obvious, like the Tays in the like 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th nights, which are like the group of 5 lines that are almost all identical. You know, some of the characters really clear to see, and some of the characters really hard to read. I'm kind of surprised there isn't like an ultra simplified Japanese or something like that they use for, like, I'm curious what they actually use for accessibility in Japan. Because I know in English you use like larger fonts. You typically use like larger fonts or very specific rules around like what fonts you actually use. As some fonts are easier to read than others. But it seems like they just like don't care about that in Japanese, because there's like some absurdly complicated characters that you kind of just like have to know how they're drawn. Like, my eyesight's good, right? My eyesight isn't terrible, but I've struggled to make out some of these characters. I have no clue how someone who has bad eyesight would actually read any of this stuff. And so, it's like, do they have to be even bigger? Do they have to be like size 72 or some shit for like low vision, for like visually impaired people to read them? I imagine that makes it really expensive to do like print stuff for accessible Japanese writing. Alright, here's the plate. The others thought that the picture's name and description might be on it, but it seemed to have quite a lot of words for that. Father? What's this?
懐かしき
Behold.
故郷
He's
を
reading the first line.
貫く鮎の川
The sweet fish river running through my hometown. That is the first line. Of course, you probably already knew that even if you didn't read Japanese, since you know the epitaph by this point, right?
好きに読み好きに解釈するがよい
Read and interpret it as you like.
いよいよ碑文と肖像画の登場か
We finally reached the appearance of the epitaph in the portrait. I'm kind of curious what part 8's going to be if they've revealed almost all the secrets of part 7. Not that I particularly mind it, since as far as endings go, this seems to be a better ending than Higurashi? I guess they're gonna tell us, like, how Battler gets out of it, or unravel that mystery of how, like, they all died or some shit. I guess that's gonna be part 8, and part 7 is just unraveling all the mysteries within the story, rather than the ones outside of the story. But I didn't really like the ending of Higurashi, and this one seems to be a little bit better. At least so far. Like, it feels like I'm reading the end of the story, and I can have a conclusion on the end of the story already, but we're not really done, because we have a lot more to go. We have a lot more ground to cover. We'll see. Alright, the appearance of the epitaph in the portrait. I don't know much about this epitaph. Well, Leon, can you solve it? It doesn't exist in my world.
だろうな
Probably
お
not.
前の世界にはお前という明白な跡継ぎがいるからな
In your world, there's already a clear successor.
しか
You.
し
But not
こ
in
の
this
世界
world.
にはいない
それはつまりこの碑文はやはりおじい様が後継者を選ぶために設け
In
た
other words, this epitaph is set up to choose grandfather's successor after all?
おそらくはな
Most likely.
あるいは奇跡を信じたのかもしれない。
Or perhaps he wanted to believe in the chance of a miracle. That's Kinzo for you. A firm believer in miracles. A difficult riddle made so no one could solve it. If someone actually could solve it, they themselves would be a miracle. That's a thought. Perhaps the miracle would guide the person Kinzo most wanted to solve it.
つまりこの碑文はやはり誰もが想像するように魔女ベアトリーチェを復活させる儀式を記したものなのですか？
In short, this epitaph really does depict a ceremony to revive the witch Beatrice as everyone thought? Sort of.
普通に考えればこれはそう読み取れるでしょう。
Seems to be the obvious interpretation.
13人の生贄を捧げれば魔女が蘇ると読み取れる
A
謎の儀
mysterious
式。
ceremony. Sacrificing 13 people to revive the witch.
しかし本当の儀式はそれではない。
However, the true ceremony wasn't that. No, it was very different. Almost surprisingly so.
奇跡的に解ける誰かを待つ。
Eliza and wait for someone to miraculously. Words are hard, guys. Solve
そ
it.
ちらこそが本当の儀式。
It's the true
しかし
ceremony.
運命とは皮肉なもの。
But fate does have its irony.
源氏は知っていた。
Genji already knew.
金蔵は初めから源氏が全てを知っていると思い仕掛けたのかもしれねえな。
Maybe Kinzo set this up in the first place because he guessed Genji already knew everything.
その運命が偶然だったのか仕組まれたものなのか。
A fate, a coincidence, or something planned?
私には分かりません。
I don't know.
しかしその碑文により
However, with this
魔女ベア
epitaph,
トリーチェは本当の意味で
Beatrice
の復活を遂
revive
げる
in
の
the
です。
truest sense. Very ominous, thank you. Thank you, Claire. Or wait, so are we calling her
第
Claire
8
still?
章黄金鏡への旅立ち。
Chapter 8, Journey to the Golden Land. Where does this concept of the Golden Land come from? That would be a good question.
これが
This is
ベアトリーチェ。
Beatrice. You're right, Beatrice doesn't know what Beatrice looks like. Fun times. Because Beatrice is consistently an imaginary character. My soul was captured by the woman shown in that massive portrait. It might have literally been true. Or rather than captured, perhaps it would be better to say that my soul had returned to a more fitting place, the place where it belonged. The beautiful blonde hair was the same as mine, but tied up. The dress she wore was a deep black, making that golden hair stand out all the more. This is the witch Beatrice. My true form. It's my true form. Beatrice seems moderately
これは何
confused.
か。
What's this? What is that? There's a plate with too many words for it to be the title of the picture. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream in search of the key.
黄金鏡。
Golden Land?
そうか。
I see.
わらわの世界は
So my world
黄金鏡なのか。
is the Golden Land. My realm is titled the Golden Land. Also, where a ton of gold stored. I've always called my own personal world a paradise. But it's actually got a real name, hey. Tonight I'll change that. From now on, my world shall be called the Golden Land, for I am the master of the Golden Land, Beatrice. And then there is the brutal ceremony of sacrifices starting on the first twilight. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive and none shall be left alive. Oof, that's
わ
exceptionally
らわ
brutal.
がこの儀式を執り行えば真の復活を得るというのか。
If I carry out this ceremony, will I revive in the truest sense? Then on the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you'll attain the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. Kinzo received a massive amount of gold from Beatrice, and rumor has it it still lies hidden somewhere. Is this, as the family members and servants are all whispering, a code showing the location of Kinzo's hidden gold? It might be.
人間が至れば莫大な黄金を手に入れるであろう。
The human solves it will obtain a great quantity of
し
gold.
かしわらわが至れば
But if I do it, it
自らの
means my own
復活を得る。
resurrection. Funny how that works out, isn't it? Kinzo, you aging magician. Just when I was mocking the shortness of the time left to you, you start a game like this? How interesting. I'll definitely solve it. Then I'll revive as the real Beatrice. When that happens, I'll use my great power to rule over object and man, day and night, in all of Rockenjima.
あの碑文、宝の隠し場所を示しているともっぱらの評判です。
Everyone says the Epitaph's a guide to finding hidden treasure. Well, that's obvious.
噂では親方様は10トンもの黄金をお隠しになられたとか。
Rumors say that the master has 10 tons of hidden gold hidden away.
ベアトリーチェに授けられたとかなんとか。
Beatrice supposedly gave it to
僕
him.
も噂を聞いたことはあるよ。
I've heard that one too.
10トンの黄金なんて
10 tons of
す
gold,
ご
that'd
いですね。
be incredible. Wouldn't it?
想像もつかないです。
I can hardly even imagine it.
そんなにあったら何に使えばいいやら。
If you'd had all that, what would you use it for? I don't have too much reaction to the amount of gold because we've already been here before, but I'll observe the characters reacting to it since this is their first reaction and we haven't seen it before.
一度手に取ってみたいです
I'd
ね。
like to touch it just once. It would be exciting, wouldn't it, Koda?
手に取るだけと言わずに使い切ってみたい
Touching
で
it,
す
I'd like to spend it all. Do you even
ね。
have an idea of what you'd spend that much money on? I think that would actually be like a real struggle at some point.
でも碑文を黄金の隠し場所の暗号をなぜわざわざ掲示されたのでしょうね。
Why did he go out of his way to display this epitaph? This code hiding the gold, or the hiding place of the gold. Good point.
決まってるよ。
It's obvious.
解けるもんかっていう闇に決まってる。
He's laughing at everyone since he thinks no one can solve it.
親方様からの挑戦ではないでしょうか。
Challenge to the rest of us, isn't it?
これが解ける知恵者はおらんかという。
He wants to know if there's anyone wise enough here to solve it.
親方様はどうやらクラウス様に素直に当主の座を明け渡されるつもりはないご様子。
Seems the master doesn't intend to let Kraus-sama take the headship easily.
これはひょっとすると先に解いたものを次期当主にするという意味かもしれま
The
せ
one
ん
who
よ。
solves this will become the successor? A tempting thought now, isn't it?
源氏さん、これは何？
Genji, what's this?
これまさかお父様の例のベアトリーチェの肖
It's
像
the
画な
portrait
の？
of Beatrice? The Beatrice?
はい。ベアトリーチェ様でございます。
This is Beatrice-sama. How interesting.
なんやこら。
What on earth?
けったいな
Is it that strange?
詩みたいなもんが書いてあるで。
There's a strange poem thing over there.
何よこれ？
What's all this about?
まるで海賊
Almost
か
like
何かの
A
宝の
pirate
隠し場
code.
所の暗
It
号文
shows
み
the
た
way
いじ
to
ゃな
hidden
い？
treasure.
源氏さん、
Genji-san,
これはどういう意味
what
な
does
の？
this mean?
ご自由に読み、ご自由に解釈されるようにと。
Master said to
親
read and
方様
interpret
は
it as you
仰せ
wish.
です。謎は、この碑文を目にできるものす
The
べてに
riddle
公
applies
平
equally
に
to any who can read the epitaph. Who can see the epitaph?
今 謎って言ったわよね。
You said the riddle just now, right?
謎ってのは解けるものという意味だわ。
That means it can be solved.
やっぱりそうよ。そうなのよ。
That's it, that's it.
お父様は兄さんに当主を継がせるつもりなんてないんだわ。
Father doesn't want Nissan to succeed him.
つまりこの謎を解けたやつが次期当主っちゅうことか。
Whoever solved this will become the successor. There we go. They've already come to the conclusion from the first day. Interesting.
やっと巡ってきた。
Finally.
やっと巡ってきた
The
のよ。
tables have finally turned.
私が
Now
当主になれる本当のチャンスが。
I have a real chance to become the head. Ava's happy. At least Ava's happy. Kraus is probably sweating
キ
bullets.
リエはどう考える？
What do you think, Kyrie? Oh yes, they all said they tried to solve it and then they kind of gave up after a while,
そ
right?
の碑文が黄金の隠し場所を示している可能性は非常に高いわね。
I think it's likely that the epitaph points to the location of the hidden gold.
姉貴はこの碑文を解けたやつが次期当主に選ばれるんじゃないかと見てるらしい。
It looks like the person who solves it will be chosen as successor. Yep. You got that much
その
right.
線もありえるわね。
That is another theory that might fit.
お父さんはクラウス兄さんを次期当主の器と認めていない。
After all, father doesn't see, but certainly doesn't view Kraus Nissan as an ideal
これは
successor.
余命いくばくのお父さんが仕掛けた最後の大仕掛けかもしれない
This
わね
might。be a huge trick he's set up now. Now that he's reaching the end of his years.
つまり本当にこの謎を解けば10トンの黄金と次期当主の座が転がり込むってわけか。
To really solve this riddle, you stand to gain 10 tons of gold and the position of successor. I mean, that's
建
a
前上はね。
big reward. On the surface, perhaps.
でも絶対に解けるものかとい
But
う
I'm
悪意
sensing
も感じるわ。
the malice, as though he doesn't think anyone
簡
capable
単には
of
解かせてもらえ
solving
ない
it.
でしょうよ。
I doubt he made it to be solved easily.
だよな。
True, true.
当分の間は酒の魚はこいつで十分そうだぜ。
Guess we won't have any trouble looking for something to do over a drink for a while now. Yeah, solve that epitaph, baby. Come on. Of course, you're not going to, but I'm going to encourage you to do so anyway.
バカバカしい。
The classic ridiculous
こんなの解けるわけないわ。
bakabakashi. How could anyone solve this? Someone's given up in the first 5 minutes. I mean, you are getting 10 tons of gold if you succeed, so I mean, if I was offering 10 tons of gold and possibly everything I owned, and I was a multi-millionaire or billionaire, you know, I'd probably want to make it pretty fucking hard, so you couldn't just have the first person who looks at it grab it. Rosa tossed aside a notepad with the epitaph written on it and flopped over onto the sofa. Solving this means 10 tons of gold. With that much, I'd never need to worry about schemes for cash again. If I had money, I could pay off my debts, and that man might come back to me.
お父様の懐かしい故郷はわかるのよ。
I know where father's beloved hometown is. I still don't.
あゆの川って何？
The Sweetfish River?
川なんていくつもあるわ。
There's so many rivers there.
里って何よ。
What's the village supposed to be?
ああ、さっぱりだわ。
I don't have a clue.
どうしたのママ。
Wrong, Mama. Maria looked concerned. Kids are good at riddles, so maybe? Good luck.
ねえマリア、
Hey, Maria. Oh boy. This is gonna be a tough
こ
one,
のなぞ
Maria.
なぞわかるかしら？
You think you know the answer to this riddle? Yeah, here's this riddle I can't solve. Maria, do you know the answer? No big deal. Maria gazed at the paper with the epitaph on it as though she was trying to bore through it with her eyes. Her eyes opened wider and
どう
wider.
マリア。
What do you think,
や
Maria?
っぱりちょっと難しいかしら？
I guess it might be a bit hard for you. She starts laughing. Of course, Maria. Doesn't Rose is gonna slap you. Careful, Maria.
これは魔女の儀式だよ。ベアトの復活の儀式だ。
The
どうした
resurrection
のこれ？
ceremony for Beato. Where'd you get it? Where'd you get it?
ねえママ、どうしたのこれ？
Where'd you get this? Where'd you get this?
ベアトに聞いてみよう、聞いてみよう。
I'm gonna ask Beato.
きっとこの儀式でベアトは本当の力を取り戻す
Sure,
よ。
this ceremony is gonna let Beato regain her full
もう
power.
半魔法の毒素なんかに悩まされずに、みんなの前に姿を現して魔法の奇跡を見せてくれるんだよ。
She'll be able to appear in front of everyone and do miracles of magic without having to worry about the anti-magic toxin anymore. Rose is just like, oh god, please.
気分はどうであるか。
And the epitaph?
親族の皆様は競って謎解きに挑まれているようで
Seems
す
the。family are all competing to solve the riddle. Well, at least that's what he intended, right? No immediate
それ
solutions?
でよい。
Good.
誰もが
Let
挑
everyone
め。
try.
そして誰にも解けぬ。
And none will solve it.
奇跡に祝福されたものを除いてな。
Except for the one blessed by a miracle.
気を許せば、私とて解き方を防出しそうになる。
If I let my guard down, even I might forget the process.
あれはそれほどに難
How
解
difficult it
だ。
is.
難解であるがゆえに解けた時、
さ
Because it's
あ、
difficult, solving it will bring about a miracle. I'm not quite sure I follow that part, but you know, it is what it is.
これは私が人生の最後に望む最後の奇跡。
This miracle shall be the last one I desire in my life.
最後の魔法なのだ。
My final bit of magic.
あ
Good
の
luck.
難解な碑文の謎が解ける奇跡が訪れた時、
When a miracle
それは
comes,
ベアトリーチェの復活を意味するのだ。
shouldn't have interrupted him. When a miracle comes and allows one to solve the complicated epitaph, it will surely mean Beatrice's resurrection.
おお、ベアトリーチェよ。
Oh, Beatrice.
見たい。もう一度その面影が見たい。
Right,
もは
gotta
や
send for
富も
Beatrice.
名誉も何もいらぬ。
Neither wealth nor honor. He desires neither wealth nor honor. Merely Beatrice.
そなたに最後に一目会うことができたなら。
If only I could meet with you one more time. Beatrice. Sorry, he's much more subdued this time around. This would be the last bit of magic that Kinzo, who realized he was facing. Here we go.
ベアトリーチェ
Is the last bit of magic that Kinzo, who realized he was facing his last years, would ever use. He was betting everything that Beatrice had given him, hoping to meet her just one more time after being separated by death through 2 generations. Ambitious, but I'm not sure it's wise. His meeting with Beatrice that day had been the true beginning of his life. Even with them gone, Kinzo had remained there alone on the stage that had gone dark. The aged monarch had obtained everything, accomplished everything, but this was the one element that had always slipped through his fingers no matter how much he struggled. If he could just have that element, he'd need nothing else in life. In the end, perhaps his whole life was just a journey to learn that one single element that makes up all that it means to be human.
我が友よ。
My friend,
我が人生最後の魔法は私に奇跡を見せてく
will my
れるだろう。
life's final bit of magic show me a miracle? Doesn't seem like he has an answer. For a while, Genji was silent. He wasn't at a loss for words or struggling to find an answer. During that silence, something had passed between the two men who had known each other for so long that their friendship surpassed that of master and servant.
いや、それでよいのだ。
That will do.
誰にも解けぬ。
No one will solve it.
だから奇跡なの
And
だ。
that's why a miracle will occur. Confident, are we?
親方様、
Master.
一つ
Tell me
お
one
教
thing.
えください。
ん？何か？
What is it?
もしもでございます。
If I ask
奇
you,
跡が起こり、
if a miracle does occur,
ん？
it may have been different during his youth, but in his old age, Genji rarely spoke of dreams and what ifs. When Genji said if, Kinzo quietly waited for the words of the man he called friend.
もしも奇跡が起こり、
A miracle does occur.
親方様の魔法が叶って、
If your magic comes true,
ベアトリーチェ様がご復活を遂げられたら、
if Beatrice does revive,
いかがなさいますか？
Kinzo tried dating agency or something instead of horrific atrocities. Kinzo ain't done shit that's horrifying, dude. How many people has Kinzo actually killed? He's killed one person. He kind of treats his family like shit because he doesn't care about them. But I mean, we have like something of an understanding of why he doesn't care about them. Where he was basically forced into marriage with some random lady he doesn't care about. She gave birth some kids, but he doesn't really care about them because he doesn't place value in the marriage or the children at all. So he's never paid attention to them because it's obligation. The Kuidorian thing. Oh yes, I'm just saying, he's like his other stuff's not too bad. Now the Kuidorian stuff, we're getting a little bit awful. He needs some help there. But I think for his like public relationship with like his wife and family, it's like he's kind of gotten the short stick for that. And he'd probably have a bad time at this point. But yeah, the Kuidorian stuff's pretty messed up. The stuff he does after Beatrice, the real Beatrice dies is pretty inexcusable. Pretty inexcusable. I'm not sure it qualifies as a horrific atrocity, but it's still pretty bad. We got to reserve some of our language for the really bad stuff. This is only a 7 or 8 on the messed up scale. We don't want to claim he's a 10. He's pretty shitty, but he's not a 10. As the one closest to Kinzo, Genji obviously knew of the crazed feelings with which Kinzo had searched for Beatrice in the past. And yet Genji was asking what Kinzo would do if Beatrice did revive.
親方様はすでに一度
Master, at one time in the past,
ベアトリーチェ様が生まれ変わるという奇跡
you
を
experienced the
ご経験なされて
miracle
お
of
ります。
Beatrice-sama being reborn. Yeah, that was an interesting time, wasn't it?
その奇跡が再び起こったなら
If that miracle happened again, yeah, what are you gonna do that time?
いかがなさいますか？
What would you do? The same thing that happened last time, perhaps?
我が友よ、
My friend? My friend?
そなたはやはり私を咎めるのか？
After all, you do blame me.
親方様とベアトリーチェ様のお心のすべてを私に知ることはできません。
I have no way of knowing everything in your heart and Beatrice-sama's.
しかし
I
ベ
do
アトリーチェ
understand
様がどのように親方様をお慕いしていたのか、その一部は存じ上げているつもりでおります。
the way Beatrice-sama adored you.
悔やんでおる。
I lament the
お前
fact.
は信じぬだろうが、私は老いてから全てを後悔したのだ。
You may not believe it, but as I've aged, I've come to regret it all. The actions you took or the outcomes. Regret takes two forms. And it's not clear which Kinzo's feeling right now.
もし
The
奇
miracle
跡が
does
起
occur.
こり、ベアトリーチェが蘇
Beatrice
って
does
くれたなら、
revive. You might.
無論 私との日々や過去のことなど何も覚えてなくて構
Then
わ
of
ん。
course I'll care nothing. Then of course I don't care if she knows nothing of the time she spent with me in the past.
いや、ベアトリーチェでさえあったならそれが誰でも構わぬ。
No, as long as she's Beatrice, I don't care who it is.
私はただ
I just want to
謝
apologize.
りたいのだ。
それは本
Is
心で
that
ございますか。
really how you feel?
そうだ、我が友よ。
Yes, my friend.
悔いている。
I regret it.
若き日の過ちを深く悔いている。
How deeply I regret the mistakes made in youth.
お前も老いたならわかるであろう。
You've aged so well, so you must know.
若き日の過ちは若き日には何の咎も
One
感
cannot
じ
feel
は
guilt
せ
for
ぬ。
the sins of their youth when one is still young.
しかしそれは深い棘のように次第に生み、
Oh, like deep
私を
thorns.
苛むのだ。
They begin festering, torturing me.
この後ろ宮金蔵、今さら死に様などこだわりはせ
I,
ん。
Shiromi Akinzo no longer care how I die.
しかしこの棘だけは、この後悔だけは
Genji's just
清
sitting here
算
thinking
した
like,
いのだ。
I don't know what this guy means, but I'm very suspicious. This thorn, this regret, is the one thing I must
ベアト
settle.
リーチェに全てを返す。
I must return everything to Beatrice.
そして罪の許しを請う。
I will ask her to forgive me for my sins.
それだけ
For
が、
that,
それだけが私の
my-
最後の願い
my
なの
only,
だ。
my one and final wish. Genji's sitting here thinking, Beatrice is there's technically an heir of Beatrice alive, and he's like, do I tell him anything? Nah. Kinzo covered his eyes and sobbed. The aged monarch who had built up great wealth in a single generation was reaching the end of his life. He could do nothing but sob because he wanted someone to apologize to.
碑文はおじい様が跡継ぎを選ぶために課した試験なのでは。
Was the epitaph a trial grandfather made to choose the successor?
俺も最初はそう考えていたが、少し
I thought at first, but it
事情が
seems the
違うかも
situation's
し
a
れ
bit
ない。
different.
この時点では私も試験だと思っていました。
At this point in time, I also thought it a
これ
trial.
は後宮金蔵の気まぐれなる
But
跡
it
継
was
ぎ
a
選びのゲー
game
ムだと。
for selecting the successor, which Ushirimi Akinzo decided upon a whim.
違うのですか。
It wasn't?
この碑文は後宮金蔵と堂上源
This
氏の
epitaph meant something for Ushirimi Akinzo and Ronue
二
Genji.
人にしかわからぬある意味を持っていたのです。
Something only the two of them could understand.
だからこれは
But
運
it
命な
wasn't
ん
the
かじゃな
working
い
of fate.
必然だったのです。
It was inevitable.
私はかぼちゃの馬車からガラスの靴まで
I was
全て
no
を
more
準備
than
さ
a
れたシンデレ
Cinderella
ラに過ぎない。
with the pumpkin carriage and glass slippers all prepared beforehand.
なるほどな。
I get it.
これは金蔵と源氏の茶番だったわ
So
け
this
か。
was a farce that Kinzo and Genji set up.
金蔵は分かっていたのです。
Kinzo
そ
understood.
して源氏もまた
And Genji
これがそのメッ
realized
セー
this
ジだと
was the message.
理解したのです。
私には
I don't
意
know
味
what
が
you
さっ
mean.
ぱりわかりません。おじい様は何を分かっていたのです。
What did grandfather
そ
understand?
して
What does
源氏さん
Genji
は
have
こ
to do with
の
this?
碑文と何の関係があるというのです。
碑文は解かれたんじゃない。
The epitaph
解
wasn't
かさ
solved.
れたんだ。
Someone was made to solve it.
そしてベアトリーチェ
And
は
then
真の復活を果たす。
Beatrice truly revived.
もしベアトリーチェが復活せずにいたならば
If the revival had never happened,
同じ1986年を迎えても事件は全く違っていた
the
かもしれない。
1986 would have still come, but the incident might have been completely different.
結局私は生まれたその時から
And so,
運命
the
の
time
岐
of
路
my
におい
birth,
てはただ
I've
の
been
一度
trapped
目。
by the crossroads of fate.
私の意志では 何の選択の権利も
Never given the right to make decisions of my own will. Okay.
ああ、我こそは我にして我らなり。
I am one yet
なれ
many,
ど我ら
and yet we have never been able to
運
resist
命に
fate.
抗えたる試しは
Is Shang-Chi's fated to solve the puzzle?
我らなど所詮は渦に舞う木の葉も同じ。
We are little more than leaves caught in a
どの
whirlwind.
ように舞おうとも渦に飲み込まれて消えるのみ。
No matter how we dance, we must eventually be sucked in and disappear. Okay. Trial for Beatrice.
瞬間移動が得意なのはガープだね。
Gop's the one who specializes in instant movement.
序列第33位の大悪魔だよ。
She's the 33rd in rank of the Great Demons.
そんなのがお友達なんて、やっぱりベアとはすごいね。
Must be really incredible to have a friend like that, Beato.
なるほどな。大悪魔のガープ
The
か。
Great Demon Gop.
よし、我が友よ。そなたはこれよりガープだ。
Very well, my friend, you'll now be Gop.
ガープと名乗るがよい。
Maria named her Gop. And you may call yourself by that name.
やれやれ。
Wonderful, it's only taken, what, 3 years?
やっと私に名前がついたのね。
You've finally given me a name.
ずっと名なしだったから嬉しいわ。
It's a relief after being nameless for so long. Yeah.
では、その調子で私にも名前を賜れますと光栄ですな。
In that case, I would be honored to receive a name as
い
well.
つまでも家具頭だけでは味気がないというものです。
Being little more than the head furniture lacks flavor, does it not?
マリア、こやつにも名付けを頼む。
I need a name for this guy too.
こやつも大悪魔で、わらわに仕える執事のようなものだ。
He's also a great demon and serves as my
わらわの
butler.
信頼できる部下であるぞ。
A subordinate who I can trust.
おー、ロノウェイかな。
Okay, I guess.
序列第27位の大悪魔だよ。
The 27th ranked are the
頼
Great
れる
Demons.
従者を与えてくれると言われてる。
It's said he'll give you reliable underlings.
おや、これは奇遇ですな。
Aye, what a coincidence.
私の分身である源氏の名字もロノウエ。
The family name of my double Genji is Ronoe. And he is Ronobe.
ほ
Nice.
う、これは
Ronoe.
確かに奇遇。
It's truly a coincidence. I agree.
なるほど。そなたにこれほどふさわしい名前はないようだな。
Seems it's the best possible name for you.
よし。そなたの名はこれより、ロの上だ。
And now you'll be known as Ronobe.
おお、名前で呼ばれることのなん
How
と
pleasant
甘
it is to
美
be
な
called
こ
by
と
one's
か。
name. So Ronobe she invented in the time span between this year and the last.
素敵な名前を感謝します、マリア卿。
Thank you for this wonderful name, Lady Maria.
形がよりしろとなるように、名前もまた強力なよりしろなの。
Yes, a form can be a vessel, a name can be a powerful
異
vessel
界
too.
の未知の存在は名前を与えるだけでもその魔力を大きく増すんだよ。
For unknown creatures of the other world, simply gaining a name can greatly increase their magical power.
だから名前は大事なの。
And that's why names are important. Thank you, Mario.
そうね。本当に名前は大事で素敵。
Names are important and wonderful.
ねえリア、こ
Right,
れからは
Leah?
私のことはガープって呼んで
You
ね。
can call me Gop now, okay?
ガープ、
Oh, Virgilia already has her name. Interesting.
良い名ですね。心得ました。
A splendid name. I shall remember it.
それから私の大切な名前を勝手に
I'll
略
ask you to
さな
stop
いように。
shortening my precious name.
ベアトリーチェのもとへ導く者、ワルギリアですか。
Dear Virgilia, the one who guides travelers
そ
to
れも
Beatrice.
実にいい名前。
Also a splendid
お嬢
name.
様の師匠にふさわしいですな。
Perfect for my lady's teacher.
え、とても気に入って
Do
い
you
ま
like
す
it a
よ。
lot?
名前は命ですね。
My name is a life after.
マリア、そなたのおかげで、わらわの友人たちは名前を得た。
Thanks to you, Mari, my friends have found names.
心より感謝するぞ。
I'm deeply grateful.
じゃあ
Mari's
今
a
度は
great
ベ
witch.
アトの番。
Now it's your turn, Beato. Oh?
マリアの お友達のウサギさんたちにもまた絵を描いてあげて。
Draw pictures of my bunny friends.
サク太郎みたいに。
Like you did for Saktaro.
よかろうぞ。
Very well, very well.
その魔導書を貸すがよい。
Lend me that grimoire.
うりゅ
Yeah.
う。ベアとは絵がとっても上手だからとっても楽しみ。
Man, those drawings are really great. I can't wait to see. Wait, is Shannon actually really good at art?
どんな絵になるの？
What'll it be?
どんな
What'll
絵
it
に
be
なるの？
like?
ウサギさんたち楽しみ。
Can't wait to see the bunnies.
森の音楽隊であったな。
They were in a forest band, were they not?
音楽隊。
Band.
よしよし。
Something like.
こんな感じではどうか。
All of a sudden, Mari was no longer a little girl who did nothing but follow her mother around, laughing or crying. Though she's still young, she already has a powerful self-image, and possesses enough knowledge of the magical world to surprise even me. Together we called ourselves Mariage Sorcière, and made each other's magical worlds deeper and richer.
名前も立派なよりしろである。
So a name can be a powerful vessel? Yeah.
味わい深い話であるな。
How profound.
よりしろとして姿はとても大事だけど、名前も負けないくらい大事な
Important to
の。
have a form for a vessel, but a name's just as important.
道理であるな。
Indeed.
名も知らぬ者よりも名を知る者の方が強く印象に
Those
残
with
るものだ。
names leave a greater impression than those who don't. Those without,
姿
sorry.
や名前だけじゃないよ。
Not just about forms and names. Oh, continue, Mario.
もっともっと深く知ることによって、それはとても強く存在することができるの。
By knowing more and more about them, you can make them exist more
だ
strongly.
から、いろいろなことを
I'll
考
think,
えて
I
あ
think
げ
of
るの。
lots of stuff for you. Thanks, Mario.
例えばそれは作太郎もであるか？
Did you do this for Saktaro as well? Yeah, of course.
サク太郎は名前と姿だけじゃないよ。
Saktaro isn't just
他
a
に
name.
もいろいろあるの。
There's more to him than that.
ライオンの子であったな。
He's a lion cub, right?
サク太郎は草食ライオンだからお肉は食べないの。
He's a Vegeta lion, so he doesn't eat meat?
でも他のみんなからは肉食だと思われて怖がられてるの。
Everyone else thinks he does, so they're scared of
で
him?
もサク太郎も怖がりだからお互いに怖がってるの。
But he's also a scaredy cat, so he's just as scared of the others?
サク太郎はビビリなの。
Saktaro is such a coward.
うりゅ
Did he?
う、僕はお肉は食べないよ。
I don't eat meat.
怖くないライオンだよ。
I'm not a scary lion.
肉食スズメだ。
Oh, look, a flesh-eating
バ
sparrow.
サバサバサ。
Poor
スズメ
Saktaro.
怖い。
Sparrows are scary.
さ、
And, oh, Saktaro's been decapitated. Rest in peace, Saktaro.
スズメは肉食ではないであろ
Sparrows
う
don't
が
eat。meat.
サク太郎がビビリだからスズメが肉食だ
Well,
と信じてる
Saktaro's
の。
a coward, so he thinks they do. Ah, I see, thanks, man.
スズメはどっかに行っちゃった？うりゅう。サク太郎はビビリだな。
Just a scaredy cat, Saktaro.
そんな怖がりじゃ
Keep this up.
またサクスケやサク吉にお兄ちゃんは怖がりってバカにされちゃうよ。
You keep this up, Saksuke and Sakichi. Sakichi will start making fun of you again, right?
うりゅう。僕は怖がりじゃないよ。
I'm not a scaredy cat. You're not exactly proving that.
あ、スズメが戻ってきた。
The sparrow's
バ
back.
サバサバサ。ひー、食べられる。
I'll be eaten. Oh.
さ、
He dies again.
作太郎は実に面白い。
Saktaro is quite entertaining.
今出てきた作助や作吉というのは兄弟なのか？
So then our Sakusuke, Sakusuke, and Kakukichi, his siblings.
お家で待ってるサク太郎の弟たちなの。
There's little brothers waiting for him at home.
サクスケはサク太郎よりしっかりしてて、サク吉はとっても器用で何でもできるの。
Sakusuke is a lot more reliable than Saktaro, and Sakukichi is so skillful he can do anything.
で
Very
も
impressive.
みんなとっても仲良しなんだ
They're all
よ。
really good
みん
friends.
なマリアのベッドの上で仲良くしてるの。
They all play together on my bed. Well, that's great.
そ
Must
な
be
たのベ
noisy
ッ
when
ド
you
の
try to
上
go
は
to sleep,
ラ
though.
イオンだらけであるな。
Her bed must be covered with lions.
だからマリアはベッドをライオンランドって呼んで
I
る
call
よ。
my bed Lion
ライオン
Land.
以外にもいっぱい動
There's
物が
lots
い
of
る
other
けど
animals
ね。
too. Very,
Lion Land
very
ですか。
wise of you, Beth, or Maria.
それ
Lion
は
Land, is it?
楽しそうです
Sounds
な。
like fun.
マリアの仲間たちは互いが互いと交流し合うことで、さらにその存在を強め合っている。
By interacting together, all of Maria's friends can reinforce their own
見
existence.
事な世界だわ。
It's a magnificent world.
私たちももっと交流を深めた方が良いというこ
That
とで
means
す
we
ね。
should work on deepening our relationships as
絆
well.
を深め合うことで、私たちの存在も魔力ももっともっと強く
By
なる。
strengthening our bonds, our existence and magical power will grow stronger and stronger.
わらわたちももっともっと世界を
Let's expand our
広げようぞ。
More and more.
聞く限り、マリアの世界は作太郎やウサギたちだけでなく、他にもまだまだいると見える。
From what I've heard, Maria's world has far more than just Saktaro and the bunnies.
わらわたちも負けてはおれぬぞ。
We can't let her beat us.
おやおや、
Hi, my.
負けては折れぬぞとなると、
In that
我ら
case,
も
shall we
眷
find
属
more
を
minions
増
for
やします
ourselves?
か。
黄金の蝶だけではどうにも面白みが
Well,
な
it
い。
is no fun with just the gold butterflies.
あやつらは喋らぬからな。
After all, they can't speak.
喋り、騒ぎ、内輪で喧嘩をするくらいに賑やかな眷属が欲しいぞ。
I'd like some chatty minions who can talk, jump around, and fight with each other. Is it time for the Seven Sisters?
そうね。私たちも賑やかな方がいいに決まって
It'll be
る。
better to spice things up around here.
私たちはマリアージュ・ソルシエールで世界の広げ方と眷
After
属
all,
の増やし
here
方
in
を学
Mariage
びました。
Sorcière, we've learned how to expand our worlds and create new minions.
今やどのような眷属を増やすもあなたの想像力次第。
By now, you may create new minions as often as your imagination allows.
お嬢様、あれなどいかが
Lady,
です
what about those?
先日、ゴールドスミスの倉庫整理の折に見つけた、あの物騒な道具の数々を
Did you make
より
vessels
代
of
にさ
those
れては。
dark tools you found when cleaning out Goldsmith's storage room?
おお、良いではないか。
Perfect.
あのような物騒なよりしろより権限した眷属こそわらわにはふさわしいぞ。
Minions created from dark-looking vessels like that will surely be fitting for me.
我らはどんどん増えるな。
More and
賑やかになるな。
It'll get lively here.
新しいお友達がどんどん増えるの。
Get more and more friends.
これがマリアの魔法なの。
My magic.
そ
Alright.
してベアとはマリアのお友達に姿を与えることができる。
Beato can take my friends and give them a form. Alright, get drawing, Beato.
育てることができる。
You can make them grow.
マリアが生み、
You
わらわ
create,
が育
and I
て。
grow them.
うん、
Indeed.
これぞマリアージュ・ソルシエールであるな。
That's Mariage Sorcière for you.
それにしてもウサギの耳はなかなかに難しい。
Bunny ears are pretty
ウ
hard.
サギたちの権限はなかなかに手間取るぞ。
Might take some time before the bunnies manifest themselves.
せっかくですから可愛くしてあげたいも
Be
ので
sure
す
to
ね
make。them cute. You've been warned, make bunnies cute.
無論であるわ。
Of course. Of
そ
course.
れこそわらわの腕の見せ所であるぞ。
And this is where I show my skill. Create a creature, give it a name, give it a form. Doing so is no different from giving birth to new life. And when a human gives birth to a child, they give it a form, give it a name to identify it by, and deepen its character by raising it in the world. Mariage Sorcière does the same thing. In our world, we create whatever creatures we think of, give them forms, names, make them friends we can interact with. We are engrossed with our game in this world called Mariage Sorcière. At least Maria was engrossed. She'd badger me to play this game every time she came, and of course I was too. However, when Maria started happily writing something, I just sat there for a while. I must admit I sighed and looked up at the sky, making sure she didn't notice. It's fun to increase the numbers of our minions. They make things lively so I don't tire of it. I may have tired of my minions alone, but even that problem goes away when I can interact with Maria's as well. It takes two people to create a universe. I now have that second person, so I am satisfied. I think I'm satisfied. And yet, a part of me is not. It really is a tiny part. After all, it's so much fun playing with Maria. Time seems to fly on by. But even so, when I look at the sky, during these short moments, I feel an empty feeling I can't describe. I know my universe is not yet complete. Apologies to Maria, but she's not the second person I want to create a universe with. No matter how much I nurture my world with her, the roots of love in my heart leave gaps. 4 years have passed since the day. He left saying he'd come back for me riding a white horse, and I was the only one without a letter. He even said he probably wouldn't ever return to Rakinjima. Is this love? I always believed love was much sweeter, much more intoxicating. But now I don't know anymore. Though I long for him, it's maddening. I can sometimes feel hatred underneath. However, even that hatred is wrapped in adoration. The roots of love have remained in the corners of my heart all this time, and if at some point I just gave up hoping Battler would return. However, the roots of love stayed right where they were. In other words, even 4 years later, I still believe he'll come back someday. The flower of my love has curled up and withered as though against the winter cold. However, the roots are still alive. And it's always waiting for him to return, waiting for a chance to bloom beautifully again. I'm grateful to Maria. Mariage Sorcière has eased the burden on my heart so much. If we hadn't met like this, I may have withered away along with that root. Even this incomplete universe is necessary for me to remain alive now. I must live on until I can create my own complete universe. And until that day, I will not be complete. For though I have a form and a name, no matter how deep my world grows, I will not be complete. I'm not complete. Beato? I accidentally muttered what I had been thinking. Maria stopped talking to Saktaro. I regretted that my slip of the tongue ruined this fun time, but there was a long silence before I could smooth it over. I laughed, but it probably sounded hollow. Maria, not knowing why my face suddenly changed like this, looked taken aback.
わらわの眷属たちは次々に世界を深め、その
Though my
存在を深
minions
め、
each
満
deep
た
in
してい
this
くの
world,
に、
and their own existences becoming full,
わらわだけがいつ
I
まで
alone
も
will
満
never be
たぬ。
complete.
なぜ満たぬかは分かっているのだ。
I know why I won't be complete.
それは魔力が足りないからだよ。
Because you don't have enough magical power. Maria answered instantly. Beatrice had lost her magical power and is unable to regain the strength she once had. That's how the story goes, so Maria's answer was correct. Right, I may be incomplete because I've lost my magical power. In that case, if my power becomes complete and I revive in the truest sense, will my world become complete as well? Does that mean the person I want to nourish a universe with will come back? If, as I claim, I'm really able to control miracles at will in the past with my magic, then if I succeed in reviving, would that miracle definitely occur? If such a thing were possible, I'd want true magic power to use for my resurrection.
そうだな。
Right.
魔力が足りないからであるな。
Because I don't possess enough magical power.
かわいそうに。
Poor Beato.
ベアトはまだ魔力が弱いからいろいろと不自由なんだね。
With your magic power still so weak.
早く取り戻したいも
I
の
want
だ
to get it
な。
back quickly. Well, you could probably revive yourself using the Epitaph if you're able to manifest at all.
かつての魔力を。
My old power.
やっぱりあれをやらなくちゃいけないんだ
I
よ。
guess you'll have to do that then.
あれとは何か。
What do you mean by that?
復活の儀式。
The ceremony of resurrection.
肖像画の碑文の儀式だよ。
The ceremony of the portrait's epitaph.
あ、
If you read the epitaph literally, it does sound like a witch's resurrection ceremony. To Maria, who believes in witches, the epitaph must be a ceremony in and of itself. Unlike the other family members, it seems she's not very interested in the location of the hidden gold.
あの碑文の謎を解けば、かつてわらわが金蔵に与えた莫大な黄金の隠し場所が知れよう。
If the epitaph's riddle is solved, one may learn the location where Kinzo hid all the gold I once gave him.
ベ アトが魔法で生み出した黄金だよね。
It's the gold you created with magic, right?
そうだ。魔力に満ち溢れし火の魔力の結晶である。
A crystallization of the great magic I possessed in those days.
じゃあその黄金を取り戻せばベアトの魔力は元に戻るんだね。
In that case, if you get that gold back, your magical power will go back to normal, right?
そうなるかもしれぬな。
なるよ。
It will. All right.
やっぱりあれはベアトの復活の儀式なんだよ。
It's gotta be your resurrection ceremony. Arya encouraging someone to commit mass murder.
マリアも手伝うから一緒に解く。
I'll help. Let's solve it together.
そしたらベアトは復活するよ。
And then you'll revive.
そして早くマリアをベアトの黄金鏡に連れて行って。
And when you do, you'll take me to your golden land.
そうだったな。
Right, right.
きっとそなたを黄金鏡に連れて行くと。
I did
約束
promise
していた
that
な。
I would take you to the golden land.
そこではどんな願いも叶うってベアトは言った。
You said all wishes are granted there.
そこには黒い魔女のいない優しいママに会える。
There's no black witch there, just a nice
会
mama.
ったことのないパパにも会えるかもしれないね。
I might even meet the papa I've never seen before.
もちろん学校も宿題も意地悪な友達も誰もいなくて、マリアとベアトはいつまでも楽しく暮らせる
There
の。
won't be any school, there won't be any homework, no bullying friends, and we can live happily ever
ね
after.
えサクタロウ、楽しみだね。
Saktaru, doesn't that sound
お
fun?
りゅう。
The epitaph of the portrait, so I must face the riddle after all? If Kinzo's children struggled uselessly over it, how would a complete stranger like me solve it? If I did happen to solve it, that would surely be a miracle. Will doing that bring about another miracle and return my miraculous power to me? Luck, Shannon. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land follow its path downstream in search of the key.
金蔵の故郷の川を下れば鍵が見つかるとでも言うのか。
So I'm to follow a river. Travel down a river in Kinzo's homeland in search of a key. As you travel down the river, you'll see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of, and there sleeps the key to the Golden Land.
川を下れば里もあろうが。
There may be villages if you go down a
二
river.
人が口にする騎士とは何か。
So it is the shore the two will tell you of. The one who obtains the key must then travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules. Those who do not have the key do not read the rest. Need not read the rest? I don't understand, but that's how the riddle is. It's practically unsolvable, so solving it would be a miracle. That much makes sense. I felt a stabbing pain in my body. The anti-magic toxin had burned my skin. Some human is probably approaching. I erased my form. Multiple sets of footsteps approached. It was Genji, Shannon, and Canon too.
皆、碑文の謎解きに夢中なようだな。
Seems everyone's engrossed with solving the Epitaph's riddle.
はい。使用人たちの中にも碑文を書き写して持ち帰り、謎解きに挑む者が多いようです。
I hear that even some of the servants have copied it down and taken it home with them.
本当にあの謎を解くと10トンの黄金が見つかるのでしょうか。
You solve this riddle, will you really find 10 tons of gold?
うん、
Indeed.
それは間違いない。
There can be no doubt of it.
わかりません。
Don't understand.
どうして親方様は大切な黄金の隠し場所を
The puzzle may be a
謎
tough
め
one.
いた碑文とはいえ、こうして誰もが目にできる場所にさらすのでしょう。
Why is the master showing the location of his precious gold in a place everyone can see?
それが親方様の魔法であり、賭けだ。
It's the master's magic and also a bet.
親方様はこの難解な謎を解いた者はベアトリーチェ様の魂を宿すと信じている。
The master believes that the one who solves this difficult riddle will contain Beatrice-sama's soul within them.
不思議な賭け。いえ、魔法ですね。
That's a strange magic.
オカルト狂いも行き着くところまで行ったってわけだ。
It looks like he's taken his occult fanaticism as far as it could possibly go. Shh.
そんなこと言っちゃダメ。
碑文の謎に挑む資格は全てのものに許されている。
All are allowed to try and solve the Epitaph's
無論
riddle.
それは使用人も例外ではない。
Servants are no
お前
exceptions.
は挑んでいるのか？
Will you try to solve it?
いえ、こんな難しい謎、私にはさっぱ
I
り
could
です
never
し。
solve such a hard riddle.
それに、
Anyway.
それに
And?
10トンも黄金があっても、特に使い道も思いつきませんし。
Even if I had 10 tons of gold, I can't think of anything in particular I'd want to use it
私
for.
は、今の穏やかな日が、いつまでも続いてくれれば、それで十分だと思ってます。
More than happy if these peaceful days continued forever.
姉さんは最近ジョージ様といい雰囲気みたいだからね。
Why, it looks like you and George-sama have been pretty close these days.
浮かれて変なドジしなきゃいいけど。
I hope being distracted doesn't make you more of a klutz.
そんなことありません。
That won't happen. Genji has nothing to say, as she isn't saying anything aloud. With a backward glance at this conversation, Genji walked up to the portrait and looked up at the witch. When they saw what Genji was doing, Shan and Kanon immediately went silent. Genji, head of the servants, closest in age to Kinzo, and the one who Kinzo called a friend, probably understood Kinzo's heart better than anyone else. What did he think when he looked at this portrait? Neither Shannon nor Kanon could tell.
懐かしき故郷を貫く鮎の川。
Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. Suddenly Genji started reciting the epitaph. Shannon quickly nodded to show she was listening, but it wasn't clear whether he was talking to her at all. Genji, his back still to them, continued.
親方様が懐かしむ故郷は小田原ではない。
The master would not describe Odawara as his beloved hometown.
遠方にお住まいだったと聞いたことがあります。
I heard he lived far away.
どこかは存
I
じ
don't
ま
know
せ
where that
んが。
was.
台湾だ。
Taiwan. Seriously? The fuck was I supposed to find out he lived in Taiwan? Okay. Alright, I'm supposed to guess that he lived in Taiwan. Alright. May as well have guessed. Well, actually, okay, there was the weird fruit thing. That's popular there. But we basically could have guessed like any like South Asian country, right? Genji turned around and spoke that single word. I was gonna say, we may as well have guessed anywhere. We may have as well have guessed New York, but I recall that there is a couple hints that direct us towards Southeast Asia. So Taiwan fits in that area. But again, covering like 30 countries is kind of a bit of a stretch. I wonder what the rationale for you narrowing it down to specifically Taiwan would be.
そうだったのですか。
That's so.
なるほど。やっとクラウス様の話がつながったよ。
So that explains what Kroos-sama always used to
ほら
say.
親方様が好まれる瓶炉。
Remember him talking about how the master liked areca nuts? Yes,
そう
those
いえば
nuts.
クラウス様、
Come to
あ
think
れ
of it.
は台湾ではタバコのようにポピュラーな嗜好品だとおっしゃってましたっけ。
Kroos-sama said they were a luxury item like tobacco that was popular in Taiwan.
それで親方様は瓶炉を。
So that's why the master... In the half-century before the war, Taiwan was under the rule of Japan. Many Japanese moved there, seeking a new frontier, and Kinzo's family was a branch of the Ashiromiya's. Apparently they were only distantly related to the head family, so they were able to form a new life and a new future without being constrained by the family in Odawara. Shannon and Kanon nodded their understanding, but they didn't know why Genji suddenly broached this subject.
では、親方様の故郷の台湾に鮎の泳ぐ川があって、
So there's a river with sweet fish
そこ
in
に
it, the
鍵が
master's
あると
hometown
い
in
うこと
Taiwan,
で
and
し
the
ょう
keys
か。
there? Not quite, but he's hinting at something, because Taiwan's also an island. So if we look at major rivers or major highways in Taiwan, would we have an idea of where we're going? And where we go relative to this island, perhaps? I'm not really going to investigate now, since this is where they're revealing the solution to the epitaph. But there was no way I was going to even look at Taiwan. Damn. Alright.
姉さんはバカだな。
Don't be stupid.
鮎の泳ぐ川なんていくらでもあるに決まってる。
There has to be several rivers with sweet fish in the area. I'm kind of tempted to look once over on Google Maps to see if there's an idea. See if I have an idea, but since I have no confidence I was ever going to even guess Taiwan, I don't know if I'm going to be able to guess anything else in the epitaph. So let's keep going.
わからないよ。
We don't know that for sure, right? But yes, the reveal of Taiwan is very difficult to guess, as I think it was like every single. I think we were looking at like, because we were debating. I just remember where was our logic when we were last looking at this. We were debating places he lived, and we were like, okay, under the Japanese Empire, we had to guess basically every single country in the Japanese Empire, pre-World War II, which included like, you know, half of China. Like the range of countries was so large, and the amount of terrain you had to look at and the random cities you had to look at was way too large to narrow down. So it would have been nice if they gave us something like Taiwan early on, that you could at least use Taiwan as a reference to try and find things out. Otherwise, you're looking at every major city, and like you're looking at all of Korea, you're looking at half of China, you're looking at like half the random islands dotting the Pacific around Japan. Like, it's fucking brutal. It would have been nice if we got like specifically Taiwan earlier in this, so it could be solvable. But I guess theoretically, if you have perfect knowledge of all regions in pre-World War II Japan, and perfect knowledge of the geography of every city that someone could conceivably have lived in, you'd probably get this. Or oddly specific knowledge about one specific region and just guessed that region and got it right. But I don't really like randomly guessing cities until I find the city. That's probably gonna take like 200 hours. Probably take longer than reading this novel to actually figure out where he is. And if you're right, because you'd have to check every river and every highway out of a city in Asia. In like East Asia. That would be insane. But it's doable. It's doable for people on the internet. It's not something I'm ever going to do, so...
親方様が
I assume you have to
台湾のど
brute
ちら
force
にお
something
住まい
else
だ
in
った
this.
かは知らないけれど
I'm not even looking at Taiwan. I'm going to assume they have like 20 highways and 20 rivers, and that you have to brute force the ending of all of those to even get a clue of where you're going. I only know where the master lived in Taiwan. I don't know where the master lived in Taiwan, but there might have only been one river there. That's coping
だ
hard.
ったらそこってことになるじゃない
So that must be the place.
姉さんは楽観的だな。
You're too optimistic.
そんな簡単なことで謎が解ける
There's
もの
no
か。
way the riddles solved that easily.
親方様の魔法の儀式は挑む者が多いほどにその力を増すと仰せだ。
Master says his magical ceremony will gain more power if more people try to solve the
お
riddle.
前も挑戦してみ
Let's try
な
as
さい。
well.
誰にも等しく機会は与え
Everyone's
ら
been
れてい
given
る
the same chance. Yeah.
はい
If
どう
this
せ
is
解
step
けな
one
い
of the
さ。
riddle, step two of the riddle is going to be just as hard and will require just as much brute forcing, so good luck. As if we had a chance, this is pointless. Genji spun around. I mean, it's possible. If I was Shannon and literally had nothing else to do on my downtime where I was trapped on this island and had literally nothing to do, I suppose I could do it. Just pull out an atlas and get tracing. Pull out an atlas or a map of the world and get going. Cannon hurried to follow after him. After Genji spun around, when his footsteps receded and silence returned, a gold butterfly flitted out from among the shadows.
Taiwan とな。
Taiwan, is it?
ほう。随分と遠くに
He
住んで
lived
いた
quite
も
far
のよ。
away. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. In other words, the Sweetfish River running through Taiwan?
台湾に川などいくらでも
There
あ
are
るわ。
many rivers in Taiwan.
カノンの言う通りではないか。
Canon was right.
バカバカしい。
Ridiculous. However, the word Taiwan interests me. The taciturn Genji muttered it without anyone asking. Is it even possible it means nothing? Clearly Genji's saying it has something to do with the Epitaph's riddle. It's almost as though that was the hint for solving it.
バカらしいとは思いつつ
Oh,
も
I do find it
よか
stupid.
ろうぞゲン
Very well, Genji. Why don't I play along with your farce for a while? Taiwan. I've traveled the world at times during these past 1,000 years, but I know nothing of the place.
無知を補うには知識の結晶に頼るが一番
To counter my ignorance, I'll need a crystallization of
そ
knowledge.
れは薄く伸ばされて何枚にも重ねて閉じられて
That
書
which
物
is
と呼ばれ
smoothed
てい
out
るのだ
and pressed into many sheets, what is called a book. Where might I find a book about Taiwan? Kinzo's study is the first place that comes to mind if one is looking for books. But it won't work. The charm of that room prevents me from entering, so the library, is it? Kinzo's vast collection of books grows each year. The books that don't fit in this study are stored in a book storage room that we usually call the library. Of course, there are countless books just in place. The library has everything from valuable books to apparently worthless ones, all packed together like an antique shop. There was a golden glint in the keyhole to the library's door, and a gold butterfly flitted out.
愛も
Stinky
変
as
わ
ever,
ら
I
ず
see.
ほこり
Dust,
カビ
mold.
なるほど知識とはこういう
So
匂い
this
なのか
is the stench of knowledge? Well now, how can I find a book on Taiwan amongst all this? The prospect is almost dizzying, however, I realized it right away. If I wanted to quickly find out about Taiwanese rivers, I didn't want a book on Taiwan.
地図帳ではない
An
か
atlas.
そのくらいどこかにありそうである
There
な
must be one of those somewhere around here.
探せ我が眷属の長たち
My
よ
butterfly minions.
この誇り臭く誇り高き知識の墓所よりわらわの探す本を探し出せ
Find the book I seek in this dusty, noble graveyard of knowledge. A cloud of countless gold butterflies appeared at my feet. They swayed, blew like the wind, and coiled themselves around the library. Eventually, they selected a single book. It seems that this is the one.
ご苦労であるぞ
Well done.
うん世界の地図
A
帳
World Atlas, Asia
あきっ
volume.
たりであるな
Perfect. It was a grand, thick, illustrated encyclopedia of maps, several volumes long. There was even a thick section on Taiwan. Should be plenty useful.
台湾とな
Taiwan.
南北 394km 東西 144km
394 kilometers north to south, 144 east to west.
面積約36000平方キロメート
An
ル
area roughly 36,000 square kilometers.
ほほ
That's
う
pretty
なかな
large.
かに広大であるな
By area, it's about the same size as Kyushu in Japan. This led Beato to a very natural question.
金蔵はこれほどの広大な島のどこに住んでい
Where
た
on
と
this
いうのか
massive island did Kinzo
現
live?
地は台湾とは言ったが台湾のどことは言わなか
Again,
った
she
ぞ
mentioned Taiwan, but that's
こ
all.
れはうか
How
つであっ
careless.
た
How careless of me. Beato had vaguely assumed the riddle would be solved in a flash if she could look at a map of Taiwan. Nope, that narrows it down to maybe, I don't know, a few places. However, Taiwan's no small place. It has one big city in it. Start there. Which part of this large island did Kinzo call his beloved hometown? I kept looking through books in this dusty library, sometimes having to cough, and I wasn't happy being stuck in a place like this.
一番大きな都市は
The largest city is
台北
Taipei. Start with Taipei.
かつては大正町なるところに日本人たちが住んでいたとの記述もあるぞ
Says here, Japanese people used to live in a spot called Taisho.
金蔵もやはり
It was
ここに
that
住んで
where
いたの
Kinzo
で
lived?
はいやいやそう決めつけるのは早計であるぞその保
It's a
証は
spot to
ない
start, though. I'll skip to the next part before I settle on anything more specific than just Taiwan itself. A sweet fish river running through the hometown. What's this? There's 129 rivers in Taiwan.
は
Ugh.
129本
Yeah, 129
こ
rivers.
の中のどれだけに鮎が泳いでいたやら
How many of those has sweet fish running in
考
them?
えただけでもめ
Just
まいが
thinking
す
about
る
it,
わ
it's dizzying. It was quickly becoming ridiculous. Genji must have been muttering nonsense to himself after all. I only thought he was giving a hint about the
黄
epitaph.
金に目のくらんだ愚か者への褒美は誇りまみれというわけか
So the reward for the fool blinded by gold is dust.
源氏め
Nice
や
one,
ってくれ
Genji.
るわ
I tossed the book aside and used magic to turn a bookshelf into a sofa and plopped down on top of it. For a while, I grumbled about getting tricked and looked up at the ceiling. I was annoyed, so I felt like gathering all this room's dust, packing it into a ball, and tossing it into Genji's teacup. So I glanced down at the floor. The book I had thrown away lay open on the ground. A gold butterfly was resting on top of that open page. Tossing a book at random and reading an oracle from the page it happens to open to is kind of a ritual, so that page may have some sort of hint. Not convinced, I picked it up. The open page was probably very near the one I had been reading. Apparently it was a page explaining Taiwan's geography. Oddly enough, it was a page about lit rivers and lakes. Well, I already know there's 129 rivers. There's something else you're trying to tell me? There were 6 major rivers listed. Zhoushui River, Kaoping River, Danshui River, Daijia River, Dengwon River, Dadu River.
Oh.
And which of these rivers might have sweet fish in them? An idea came to me then. Sweet fish are freshwater fish. You don't find ocean water in rivers. Unless it's extremely dirty or blocked by a dam. Any river might have sweet fish in it. Covered. Foolish. All rivers have fresh water in them. What stops sweet fish from living in any river? Come to think of it. What a foolish name this Danshui River has. Freshwater river? What sort of river isn't a freshwater river? I mean, I don't know that Danshui I didn't know that Danshui meant freshwater, but here we are. It would only make sense to name a river after what's in it if it were literally anything else. But Beatrice, is this a hint? Danshui River flows from Taipei to the harbor town of Danshui. I see, it's not called that because it has of the water in it, but because of the town at its mouth. As you travel down the river, you'll see a village. In that village, look for the shore the 2 will tell you of. I realize this is stupid, and yet there's something about this town. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. That line should be talking about one of the 129 rivers. Sweetfish are freshwater fish. There's this freshwater river flowing down to a town called Freshwater. It's like a strange, trivial word game. Could it be some kind of code? I've been looking for books so long the dust is piling up on me. If I give up now, it'll all be a waste of time. Very well. Why don't I test my luck and see if a random page the book opened to contains an oracle. I turn to the next page, trying to search in even greater detail. To me, solving this riddle was like a game. One that all the servants were engrossed in. I was just trying to be one of the group.
熱中できる読み物を久しく失い、退屈していた私はその本を自室に持ち帰り、毎晩眺めました。
For quite some time, I'd suffered from a lack of books I could find particularly absorbing, and I was very bored, so I took that book back with me to my own room and looked through it every night.
地図帳に碑文の謎のヒントが。
There's a hint for the Epitaph's riddle in an atlas?
第3のゲームでエヴァは書庫で何かの本を調べて謎を解いた。
In the third game, Eva solved the riddle after reading a book in the book archive.
そして第5のゲームでフルドエリカは謎を解くために書庫で求めた本は地図
Then in the
帳だ。
fifth game, Furuto Erica looked for an atlas in the room before solving the riddle herself.
では、やはり台湾の地図に何か
Really
秘
is some
密
secret
が。
in the map of Taiwan?
鮎の川とは淡水河を暗示していると信じました。
I believe Sweetfish River part was a code for Danshui
地図
River.
で淡水河を毎日たどり、地形を細かく調べました。
Every day I researched the surrounding geography in detail.
もちろん、鮎の泳ぎそうな小さ
Of
な
course, I
渓流も
also looked up several
いくつも
small
調べ
streams
ま
that
した。
might have sweetfish in them.
でも、
But it didn't get me anywhere.
何もわかりませんでした。
過去のゲームでの情報によるならそれは川じゃない。
According to information from a previous game, we aren't looking for an actual river.
流れるものだ。
But it is something that
エヴァは
flows.
そう読み解いた。
That's how Ava interpreted it.
川ではない。
Not a river. It may not be.
はい。結論から言えば、淡水河とは無関係でした。
In the end, Donshui River had nothing to do with
し
it.
かし、やはり今にして思えば、
And now that I think about
あ
it,
れは信託だったのです。
it must have been an oracle after
淡
all.
水河自体は無関係でしたが、それはやはり
The river was
大き
unrelated,
なヒントになった
but it
の
was
で
a
す。
great hint.
川は無関係なのに
It was unrelated,
ヒン
but
ト
it's
に
still
は
a
なる
hint.
と。
落ち着いて考えろ。
Calm down and think.
川でなく流れ
What
るものを
flows
考えるんだ
but。isn't a river? Crowds of people.
つまり水以外が流れる何か。
Something other than water that flows? Air.
何が思いつく？
What can you think of?
発想を柔軟にしろ。
Think outside the box.
ウィル、
Will.
謎かけごっこはもううんざりしてるわ。
I'm tired of the puzzle solving.
じらさないで教えちゃいなさいよ。
Don't be annoying. Give us the answer.
あなたは解けたんでしょ？
You solved the epitaph, right?
おそらくな。
Probably.
水以外で流れるも
Something other than water that flows?
の。もの。
Something.
もの？
Something?
物流。
Methods of transportation?
例えば街道と
Like
か
a road or a
道
highway?
路とか。
正解です。
Correct.
鮎の皮が川そのものを刺さないことに気づくのに、私は膨大な時間をかけました。
It took me so long to realize Sweetfish River did not refer to water itself.
そうだ。
Right.
淡水の名がつく川以外のものがある。
There's something other than a river with the name Donshui. A major highway.
それは物や人が流れ、上りも下りもある。
Something both people and things flow up and down.
上り下り。まさ
Up
か
and down? You mean
そうだ。
That's it.
鉄道だ。
railroads? Alright. The Donshui line. How specific? I guess if you're looking close enough, you might be able to find the name of rail lines. That's really hard to find. Holy shit. It's a railway that goes from Taipei to Donshui Harbor. Alright. It was constructed in 1901 when Taiwan was still under Japanese rule. Okay. Afterwards, the number of stations continued growing and it became a major artery into Taipei. This railroad was used after the war as well, and it's still in common use as the Donshui line of the Taipei Rapid Transit System. I wonder if Google Maps even has the rail line name there. Oh, I'm gonna find out. Going to Taiwan? We're looking for rail lines, right? Rail lines through Taiwan. Are they labeled? Start sweating. Ooh, I don't think they are. I do not think they are labeled. At least what I think is them. I'm leaning towards no. This one is leaning towards no. Rail lines not being labeled. It would help if I knew. Oh, those are probably subway lines. Where are the actual rail lines? Those might be subway lines. That's a river. Even finding rail lines. I bet those are subway lines. I bet they have an effective public transportation system. Ah, it's gonna take too long. Finding an actual rail line in Taipei is a pain in the ass. But it's not immediately evident. It was actually a lot easier to find them in Japan. Maybe that's because they were labeled? It helped that they were cleanly labeled. In Google Maps, I don't think I could even find the... I don't know if I could actually find them. I can go to Taipei. I don't see the rail lines on the map at all. Unless I assume that these colored lines are the rails? At which point, they're not labeled, so I'd have no clue what the rail line was called. Okay, that would be a tough find for me. Alright. Its route begins at Taipei Station and continues on toward the town of Danshui. Oh. Let's go to the main station. Nope. Nope. Yeah, these are not labeled here. Yeah, you'd have no clue that it's a wiki. Yeah, you can use the wiki. I'm just saying you can't use Google Maps to find the solution to this puzzle because you don't have the freshwater line. Oh, the Danshui. I assume you'd have to translate it at some point, or translate the names of all the lines. Like, that's a reasonable request. Because it's a reasonable request, because remember, this is written in Japanese. So it might be obvious to any Japanese reader that it's called the freshwater line. So having to do that extra step is actually like an okay request for English readers. And I don't think it's unfair. But I think that approach was not going to result in success anyway. You have to know the name of the rail lines is a lot harder to find out. But I suppose if you're actively looking for rail lines through Taipei or in Taiwan, you might be able to find a list of the names. That might have been a good approach, actually. Look for a list of the names of all major roads and rail lines through Korea and Taipei, or Korea and Taiwan. Like, would that be a thing you could reasonably find a list of? Maybe. In this day and age. Like, a list of the names of the rail lines is probably findable. It'd be hard. There may not be many of them, but you could probably find a list of them. Okay. Okay, so it continues into the town of Danshui. Yep. Note that in my brief look through Google Maps, I also couldn't find the town Danshui by looking visually. Could probably find the town Danshui, but that would imply that I already knew what I was looking for, which I don't. Like, I don't know that I'm looking for Danshui. Okay. Wait. Hold up. I actually stared directly at this city and didn't fucking know that. Okay, I googled this stuff. I have this open. Okay, I just want to... Hold up. I literally have this open right now. Searching Danshui Taipei. It does not give me Danshui. It gives me Tamsui. It gives me Tamsui, which is even more confusing, as the answer does not correspond to what the English auto translation is. That said, I think it's kind of fair to have to look at this, but can this be read as Danshui? Maybe this is maybe this is the Chinese translation. And if you read it, if you read this as Japanese, you might read it as Danshui. But see, I looked up Danshui, and it gave me Tamsui as a result, which tells me that it's probably just a different reading for China and Japan, or Chinese and Japanese. Alright. Yeah, I literally looked at this section and was just like, I don't see it, don't see it. But yeah, you can't see that the rail line ends here. You could probably go with Tomsui, but I guess you just have to look for the water icon here. Second character, there's water. That might be an okay hint. Alright. Something North Station, I think. Okay. Something Station, formerly something other station. Okay. Something Station. Yep. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Formerly.
碑文には川を下ればやがて何があると
What did the epitaph say you'd see if you went down the river?
里があると。
A village.
淡水線の駅の中で里の名を持つ駅はこの赤廃駅しかない。
There's only one station on the Danshui line with the village with the character for village in its name. And it's this what's this, like stone something or other station? Wait, you're expected to take the How do you read this? You're expected to take this stone and something else and derive village from it? What the fuck? It doesn't even, like, you're supposed to read this station and somehow derive that this station with this name is apparently a village station? Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna guess that I'm supposed to look for the grid square to read that as village. Alright, that's a tough one. There was no way I was going to ever make that leap of logic that the village character is actually complete. You look for the village character, but the village character is actually completely absent from this name. Oh boy. Alright, how do you read this?
キリガン駅と読む。
Japanese pronounce it Kirigan.
戦後赤廃駅に名を変えたが
Its name was changed to Sekihai Station after the war. When Kinzo lived there, it was Kirigan Station.
川を下ればやがて里あり。
As you travel down the river, you'll see a village. And the name is wrong. The name will be wrong, but you'll see it anyway. Okay.
その里にて
In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of.
里だけじゃなく岸まであるわね。
You can also
その
see
駅の名
a
前。
character for shore. I assume that's going to be horrendously transformed as well.
果たしてその駅を示しているのか、短くない時間を悩みました。
In the end, it took quite a long time to work out that this station was the one referred to.
里という文字と岸という文字。
It has the character for village and the character for
な
shore.
んとなくなぞなぞの文字遊びの
It
よ
felt
うに
like a
感じ
kid's
てい
riddle
ました。
playing with letters.
このキリガンの一文字目の口辺の漢字。
The first character in Kirigan has a mouth, the kanji for mouth, the character for mouth,
口
yep.
の脇にあるこれはそのと読み
And
ますよ
the
ね。
other half of the first character means that. How did we even get to this character? Hold up. The first character has a row. Formerly this, what? Has the character for mouth, and this other one has the for that. I guess it does have that one. Oh yeah, it's heavily compressed, but it's not two vertical lines. It's actually a row. Okay. So it's mouth and then this other thing, which means that. You're decompressing this for like mouth that.
口西で口の文字もあるし。
That village is shore. I see. Okay, I can see how that one gets decompressed. See, you know what? I actually agree with that one. That was an okay decompression. They took the... So if you look at the first character for formerly something or other station, so if you take its old name, and you decompress the left and right halves of it, you get something that hints at it. So it's mouth and that. Village, shore. Okay, that works. That works.
でも
I
二
don't
人
get
が
what
口西の
the
意味が
two.
わからない。
I think it means it's splitting into two, or there's two other characters. I think that works. The three characters of Kirigan can be split into a mouth, a that, a village, and a shore. That works. Those are all words that appear in the epitaph. In that village, look for the shore the 2 will tell you of. You can read it as code for the name of the station. However, I don't understand the part about the 2.
私もそこに引っかかりました。
I was also stuck on that
し
part.
かし、きっとこれを指し示すに違いない
However,
と
by
いう
then, I was
強い
confident
信
this
念があり
station
ま
was
し
what the
た。
epitaph referred to.
この駅名が旧名であるように、この地名も何か旧名があるのでは。
This station was once known as a different name, then could some local spot have also had its name changed? I'm kind of impressed that she was able to figure out multiple names for every station, because I assume everything in the country got renamed, but... Alright.
そうだ。
That's right.
もともと
Kirigan
キリガン
Station
駅
was
は
named after a nearby
地名から
location,
名
that's
付けられ
all.
たものだ。
After all,
そして地名のキリガンは駅名と違い、こ
and although the name of the area was also Kirigan, it's written differently.
口が2つ。
There are 2 mouths. I see, 2
調
mouths.
べればすぐにわかることでした。
It didn't take much investigation before it was
や
clear.
はり碑文はこのキリガンのことを指し示してい
The
たのです
epitaph must have been referring to this place called
では
Kirigan.
ここに黄金鏡の鍵が眠っていると。
Then is this where the key to the Golden Land rests?
普通に考えればそうなります。
That would be the obvious answer. However, I couldn't make the
台
long
湾
trip
まで
to
はるばる
Taiwan
行
to
けるわ
check.
けもなく、当然キリガンと呼ばれる土地も広大です。
And of course, the place known as Kirigan is
そ
quite
の
large
どこに
itself.
小さな鍵が隠されているのか
If
わ
a
かるは
key
ず
was
もない。
hidden somewhere there, I'd never find it.
途方に暮れました。
I was at a loss.
しかし、
But
お
you
前
didn't give
は
up.
諦めなかったな。
碑文の少なくとも最初の5
I
行
was
につ
sure I
いては
found the answer, at least to the first
確
5
実に
lines of
答
the
え私
epitaph.
にとってこれはもう何よりも面白い
My
ゲ
eyes,
ー
it's
ム。
truly an interesting game or a mystery.
ミ
I
ス
mean,
テ
if
リ
I
ーで
could
した。
make this much, if I made this much progress my first day trying to solve it, I'd be pretty happy with it. I'd be pretty happy with my progress. I mean, even getting the hint from Kinzo or Genji would have been really nice. Almost gave up then. However, there was no doubt I had the key in my hand. So I decided to travel to the Golden Land in accordance with the epitaph.
第一の晩に鍵の選び師6人を生贄に捧げよ。
On the first twilight, offered the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. So, curiously enough, a modern equivalent of Atlas Google Maps does not have the answers you are looking for unless you guess the city name or read the name of every city, but I guess it's sort of doable. Finding the names of the rail lines is absurdly hard, though. You couldn't do that. You'd need an actual atlas, maybe? But I mean, most maps I have don't even give me the names of rail lines. Like, I have actual maps, and they don't have those either. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. Like, the names of rail lines, not only are they prone to change, but they're also rarely labeled on real maps, so I'm kind of surprised their atlas had it, but that's fine. An oddly difficult task, but I suppose a possible task.
この一文を見てわかることは、鍵とはすなわち6つの何かを示せるということだ。
By this line that this key refers to 6
その
things.
時点で
Reasoning
錠
makes it
前に
possible
指
to
す
see it couldn't refer
言
to a
葉通
physical
りの
thing.
鍵ではないことが推理可能だ。
6つの何か。
6 things. Are there 6 parts to the kanji of this
はい、
country? Or this city?
6
Yes.
つの何か。
6 things. Can we go back
私
to
も
symbols?
頭が固い人間でしたから
I was merely a
と
thick-headed
にか
human.
く
I decided to look through the book
6
for
に
anything
関わ
related to
る
number
何か
6.
がない6。
6.
666キリガンという鍵
Location
の
of
あ
the
り
key
か
called
は
Kirigan was
言
hidden by a
葉
word
遊びに
game.
よって隠されていました。
Can Kirigan be split into 6 characters? I mean like the component kanji of Kirigan be split into 6 independent kanji.
ならばきっと
I meant the
この
6 things were
6
surely
もまた
connected to some sort of word game
言
too.
葉遊びに関わるに違いない。6、
6,
6、
6, 6, 6,
6
6,
探しました。
I kept searching for 6.
6、
I look at the name again so I can see that they can be split into
こ
6
のキリ
characters.
ガンという文字が6つ
Thank you,
に
Lion.
分解できるとか。
Thank you, Leon. Is there a way to split the characters in Kirigan to get 6?
いい推理だ。
Good idea.
しかし、この3つの漢字といくらにらめっ
No
こ
matter
して
how
も
much you stare at those
答え
characters, you
は
won't
出
get
ない
an answer.
そもそも、キリガンなんて読み方自体、日本語読みだ。
The problem is that Kirigan is the Japanese reading of the name.
では現地では何と。
How did they pronounce it there? Uh,
チーリーアン、
Chilean.
発音します。
It's pronounced Chilean.
それは英語だと6文字。
When written in Roman characters, when romanized, it's 6 character song.
6文字。
Okay. 6
じゃ
letters.
あやはりこれは言葉遊
It's
び。
a word game after all.
第一の番に鍵の選びし6文字を
That's what it
生贄
means
に
by the
捧
6
げ
chosen by the key.
なるほど。
That sounds plausible. Okay. Presumably, if he spent most of his childhood living in a region that spoke Chinese, he'd probably have a solid understanding of Chinese. That makes sense. Okay. I think you could reasonably figure that out from the location of Taiwan. As you know you're looking in Taiwan, so you specifically look for Chinese to English. You look for Chinese translations instead of Japanese translations. That works. Okay. Talking about it like this, it sounds like a line of reasoning that can be reached in a second. However, it took a long time before I reached this spot on my own. A dizzying number of nights passed from the time Genji uttered that single word to the time I got this far.
ではこの6文字を生贄に捧げるとは。
So what does it mean to offer these 6 letters as sacrifices?
続く第二の番以降は残されし者で話が進
On
む
the second twilight, we start hearing about those who remain.
何かの文字列から鍵の6文字を間引き残った文字でどうこうしろと言っていることが推理で
Reasoning
きる
opens up the possibility the 6 letters of the key are being removed from an even larger set of letters.
しかし
However, what could the
何
6
かの
letters
6文字を間引くのか。
be removed from?
それにも長く悩みました。
That's a tough one. I'm not sure
ここ
how
から
I
は
would get this.
も
Let's
は
see.
や新しい謎。
It's like the start of an entirely new
誰
riddle.
の助けもなく。
This time I'd have to solve it by
今
myself
度こ
without
そ自分
assistance.
の力だけで解かねばなりませんでした。過去のゲームの中で
In a previous game,
確か第一の番について何か仮説を立てていたような気
I
が
think
します。
Rosa formed a theory about the first Twilight.
第10の番の
Right.
黄金の里に注目した推理だな
The theory about the 10-day journey ending at the 10th
自分の
Twilight.
中に
On
は
the 10th Twilight journey's
他に
end,
4度も黄金鏡という単語が登場するのになぜかこれ一つだけが黄金の里と記されている
that was insanely short. For him uttering an entire paragraph, I was really short. On the 10th Twilight journey's end, you'll attain the power of the Golden Lands treasures once and for the last time. She took that section to be a literal trip that ends when you attain or reach the treasures of the Golden Land.
なぜ第10の番だけ
But what meaning
黄
was there in
金
those
これに
words?
気づくのにも
Realizing there was something to be found,
そしてどう
and
してな
realizing
のか
something
に気づくのにも
actually was that what that something actually was took another long stretch of time.
ローザの推理はこうだった
By Rose's
黄金
reasoning,
の里を京と読み京都の京
attaining
と
to
読
meant
むとい
reaching some physical location represented by the 4 treasures.
いい推理だったが惜しかった
It was a good try, but not quite right.
今日は京都以外にも読み解けたんだ
It's not the treasures we're supposed to reach, but their power.
今日京都以外で読み解く。
What does it mean to reach the power? Something like that?
難しく考えるな
Don't overthink
そのままだ
What else can the word power mean?
今日です。
You can
い
reach.
え、今日ではなく
I'll raise
K と読み
yourself
ま
to the
しょう。
power of 4 treasures.
数字の単位です。
Starting at Twilight
1、
10.
10、100、千万、億、兆。
And this is done once and for the last time.
数字の単位。
So it's an exponent like a math problem?
私の場合はこの六軒島にいるという地の利
I
が
have
あ
a
りま
home
し
field
たから
advantage since I live on Rock and
K
Shima.
を思い当たるヒントはあったのです。
There's a hint there that made it easier to think of a large number.
私の場合は先に答えが分かってから逆に問題の意味が分かったという感じでした。
You might say I actually found the answer before I knew what the question was.
ややこしいことを言うとリオンが混乱する
If you make it so complicated, Leon's gonna get a headache. I don't know what the question is or the answer.
話を戻そう
Are we taking Quillian from Quadrillion? Are we taking Quillian from Quadrillion? I think it was Quadrillion, right? If I remember what the number is. Actually, I'm guessing that's what the number was because that would only make sense because you couldn't take it from any other number. And it's what? What is it? Quilion? Wait, what is the low? It's not Quillian, it's Killian, right? What is the actual name of this pronunciation thing? I think it's like Killian to make 6, right? So Q-I-L-I-O-N. Leaving with U-A-D-R-L. Oh, it's Killian with an A. It was quadrillion, I think, so it's like Q-I-L-I-A-N. Which leaves you with like U-D-R-L-O. I assume you could take that and rearrange that a whole bunch. Then it would just be word arrangement at that point, or you do something else to transform them. I don't remember. Alright.
第10の番に一形に至るならば、第1の番はいくつになる
10 to the 4th power is 10,000. If you reach 10,000 on the 10th twilight, how far have you gotten by the first twilight? That's 1/10 of 10,000. 1,000, right?
正解だ。船長から鍵の選びし6文字を間引く。
Well, that gives us a single word that has nowhere near enough letters and it doesn't match the key at all.
チーリーアンが英語である以上、船長も英語であろうとはすぐに察しました。
If we interpret this as raising 10 to the 4th power once and then doing the same thing the final time, we end up with 10 quadrillion.
船長は英語ではクワドリリオン。
That's 10 quadrillion at the 10th twilight or quadrillion at the first twilight.
第5のゲームでのバトラの推理通り、11文字だ。
As Battler guessed in the 5th game, it has 11 letters. Yep.
いや、これはあんた
Or
の
should I
推理
say, as you guessed? Yeah, Fern Castell was playing at that time. Strangely enough, both words begin with Q, which is probably a good hint to verify that you found the right word. I felt it had to be right. Leon took a notepad from her pocket and spelled out quadrillion and quillion. The two words look even similar at a glance. Yep. So you take these and you're like, well, I have quillion, I can subtract these 6. And then you can do some other stuff. I forget they list a bunch of transformations in the previous ones. That works. Yes, Rasputin's been released. Quadrillion, that's right. 3 of the 6 letters shown by the key are right there in quadrillion. Yep. What happens if we take them out? 3, 4, 5, 6. You're left with a strange, unusual number. 5 meaningless letters, but we're going to do something with those. However, the important thing is the number 5. After all, in the next part of the epitaph, the word kill appears 5 times, so we got to kill 5 letters. On the 9th twilight, none will be left. In other words, there should be 5 letters left. As Battler guessed in the 5th game, when we separate 2, we're separating the D and the R. Yep, that works. 2 of the letters are close to each other. The D and the R. Those must be the 2 who are close. Yep. Once you reach here, the riddle is practically solved. It helps to start from in Taiwan. Put another way, this is as far as you can go with the epitaph alone. You might be able to figure out the answer with more wordplay, but you won't be able to activate the device. Right. Once you know this much, all that remains is to gouge and kill. And you had an idea of where this place was before you even got this far, right? Yep. Some people suspected the gold was hidden there even before the epitaph appeared. And because the mysterious phrases appear there, it's only natural without the place concealed some secret. I mean, now that he's plastered the answer, of course, in front of the chapel. What do you mean by the place? The place is the device that opens the door to the Golden Land, one that requires a miracle. A quick-witted person should be able to figure out where the first twilight is by now. Thought the first twilight was quadrillion, not a place. It's where quadrillion's written outside the chapel. You should know it. Or did you blindly follow Kinzo's orders and never go near it? I think most of this could reasonably be derived with a proper atlas. And the knowledge of where his fucking hometown was, which they never gave you until, like, today. They'd given you that out way earlier. Very solvable, which was my complaint when I was trying to solve it earlier. I'm like, I don't know where I'm looking, because it could be fucking anywhere in the continent. Quadrillion. There's only one place you'll find that word on Rockinjima. Hey, it's right outside. What a coincidence. Gold butterflies flitter from shadow to shadow, dodging raindrops. Unless my memory's mistaken, this is probably the place. It's the chapel. The mysterious building, one of the oldest on Rockinjima, which had been built at the same time as the mansion. It was called the chapel, but not once had Kinzo used it for worship, and the members of the family had never been allowed inside. There were strict orders that none approach it without reason, and its purpose was always a mystery. However, all these mysteries got boring after several decades, and at some point everyone forgot the chapel even existed, and that splendid building passed from the thoughts of Rockinjima's residents. Of course, this had been true for Beato as well. Beato, who hated boredom, had no desire to approach places humans never went. Her last memory was of the time she went there to taunt Shannon as she tried to clean. There's no doubt. That's it. Quadrillion. He looked up above the door to the chapel. There was a relief displayed over an arch. English words were written there. You will be blessed only at a probability of a quadrillion to 1. Yep. You thought that was the probability of someone solving this riddle? The chapel was built long ago? There's a device like the one I imagine. Well, you know what I think? You know what I think? You know what I think, Beatrice? Or, sorry, Shannon. If you didn't know where his hometown was, you would have had a really fucking bad time trying to solve this. Kinzo must have prepared the Epitaph riddle many decades ago. He must have been planning to use it as a ceremony for choosing a fitting successor all that time. However, the ceremony is now a ceremony to open the door to the Golden Land and to my resurrection. When I snapped my fingers, the ground bulged and several snake-like dead trees spreaded up. They twisted around each other to form a ladder which leaned itself against the door. If my guess is right, there's a device in that relief. I slowly climbed the ladder. Because of the size of the door, the relief was very high up. This close up, it looks bigger than it did from the ground. Come to think of it, when he cleaned the chapel, this relief was the only thing Genji always made sure he polished himself. I always wondered why he didn't leave something so trivial to the younger servants. I thought it strange, but nothing more. The master treasured this relief, so the head servant cared for it himself. I always accepted that excuse. But now I understand. There must be something in this relief, and Genji polished it himself to make sure no one else accidentally found out. Quadrillion. So I had to sacrifice the 6 letters chosen by the key from Quadrillion? The tips of my fingers touched the cue. My fingertips were soon covered with dust. However, I quickly realized there was something strange about it. Don't tell me this letter. No, it had to be like this. There'd be no other way to offer up sacrifices. Beato grabbed the letter Q, and after lightly playing around with it in various ways, she pulled it out with a slight clunk. As I thought. Here's the Q I pulled out, and this part's a wedge. No, it's a key. Key was attached to the back of the Q and had been stuck into a keyhole in the relief. Let's see. In that case, I know what to do next. Start Very good. This Q key is the wrong answer. Ah, you figured out the hometown in episode 3, but it took you until 6 to solve the rest. Though focusing on solving everything else might have missed that. Yeah, I suppose so. I had no fucking clue what his hometown was supposed to be in episode 3 and was like, I am fucking lost. I was lost in episode 4, 5, what's it? I still didn't figure it out. I was like, look at a map. Yeah, I know it's supposed to look at a map, but where the fuck am I looking? And that requires knowing all about archaea tree seeds, which is pretty hard, but I suppose that's an abstraction of the game made to make it more difficult for people in real life to solve. As I think there's a 0% chance they would have known where archaea nuts grow in the 80s. Like, that one's basically impossible to solve in the 80s. You're like, oh, where does X seed grow? And you're like, oh, fuck if I know. I can't look at... There's no one book you could look at to see exactly that. Unless it's a major export. No, this Q key is a wrong... I see, I know how to do this. This Q key is a wrong answer. Enough with you. Beato carelessly tossed the Q key aside. It was the first sacrifice. She kept on pulling out the keys for the 6 letters representing the key. And A will also be sacrificed. And both I's. The end. And one of the L's. But there's 2 L's here. Oh, I only sacrificed one. There were 2 L's. I didn't know which I should sacrifice. I tried pulling both out, but the keys were of different shapes. One is the right answer, one is the wrong answer. Oh, there's only 2. If I make a mistake, I can just try the other one. Unless messing up sets off a trap that blows up the island, of course. Thinking it a waste of time to sit worrying, I decided on the rightmost L and pulled it out. 5 letters remain in the word. And now the first twilight's over. On to the second. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. D and R are close. What does it mean to tear them apart? Move them to... Do I pull them out? If I do, there'll only be 3 letters left. By this point, I was able to make a good guess at what the gouge and kill lines mean. Gouge and kill probably means turn the key and take them out. In that case, the part without going from head to leg must mean starting at left and going right. If that's the case, there has to be 5 characters left on the board. I mean, I'm suspecting you move the R to the... You try to move R to the I slot or D to the A slot, but I don't know what it looks like in real life. In other words, tear apart doesn't mean kill. If we mean tear apart, it means putting a gap between D and R. But how? There are 2 ways to do it. Do I remove the D and move it to the left? Or do I remove the R and move it to the right? After pondering, I realized both choices are wrong. No. Is that right? I had it wrong since I removed the L. A short while ago, I removed the right of the 2 L's. Or if I removed the left one, it would look like this, and you can move the R to the I slot. Yeah. If you line up this way, it's easy to see the next step. Move R to I. R gets shifted to the right. Easy. This way, all the letters are spread out evenly. Yeah. That must be it. The next part's the top one. Praise my name. It's clear this is a word game. Those who remain shall praise my noble name. What are the remaining 5 letters supposed to do? Probably change their order to form a word? U, D, R, L, O. What should be done with these 5 letters? This is a rearrange puzzle, not too bad. Praise my name. How can I get stuck over coming so far? I mean, you just put the things back and come another day, but alright. How are these 5 letters supposed to praise the name? The man's name is Ushiromiya Kinzo. But there's no D in Ushiromiya Kinzo. Is the U part of Ushiromiya? Several letters don't match. There aren't nearly enough letters to make Ushiromiya.
我が名とは金蔵を指すことだけは間違いない。
My name must refer to Kinzo.
ならばやはり U は後ろ宮を指すのか？
Does the U stand for Ushiromiya after
イ
all?
ニシャルであるとか。
Like an initial?
ならば
What do
D,
DR and L
R, L, O は
stand for?
何を意味する？
Lord. Lord Ushiromiya. L-O-R-D.
金蔵も意味す
Can't
る。
mean Kinzo.
R, O で。まさか六軒島を？
Do the R and O stand for Rakenjima? Hmm.
六軒島の主金蔵。
Master of Rakenjima Kinzo. So you're saying like Rakenjima land Kinzo Ushiromiya? Enough letters.
字数がまるで足らぬ。
You would have left me totally confused. However, there are only 5 letters left. There can't be too many possible combinations of those letters. It's not that hard. 5 factorial. Not that many. I could use process of elimination. 5 factorial is not that many anyway, so you're probably okay. I mean, it's like what? 120, I think, is 5 factorial? I haven't had to do factorials in a while, but I think it's 120. That's moderately difficult, but you could easily find the most promising combinations. Write them down. You could write them all down. I'll write down every combination, scratch it all the gibberish, and take the most promising ones. Thinking I'd play around with it, I pulled out the U. There were 4 letters left. D, R, L, and O. My idea that the U stood for Ushiromiya was like a heavenly oracle. When I removed the U, I thought of making a word with the remaining 4 letters. D, R, L, and O. Those 4 letters spun in my head, changing their orders and matched on a single English word that would serve to praise Kinzo.
Lord.
It's Lord.
Lord.
Lord. I had no basis for it. However, it was like a flash of inspiration. I quickly changed the letters around before the flash faded from my mind. Yeah. Lord U.
L, O, R, D. Lord U.
Yep, Lord U.
後ろ宮。
Lord Ushiromiya.
後ろ宮卿。どうか第4の番に
On the 4th twilight, gouged the
頭を
head.
えぐりって。
It was a key, so it wouldn't have turned if it was the wrong one. But it did turn, and I managed to gouge it. I gouged the first letter L with a click and then pulled it out.
次第5の
Next,
番
5th twilight.
胸をえぐりて
Gouge the chest and kill. The O was gouged and pulled out easily. Then the R. Then the D. And then finally the U. When I turned the key of the U, I could feel a resistance as though some device had been activated. I waited for something to change, but nothing did. However, I felt something happen. A secret door must have opened up somewhere around here. Waiting around wouldn't accomplish anything. I probably did everything I can here. All the letters in quadrillion have been removed.
第9の番に魔女はよみがえり誰も生き残れは
On
し
the
ない
ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. So this way, as the witch, have I revived? The 10th twilight? At journey's end, you'll obtain the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. When I stepped down the ladder and looked around, I immediately noticed a small change.
ライオンの
The
像
lion statue? At some point, the lion statue in front of the chapel turned to face a different direction. How did that work? Did Kinzo plan up this extravagant device back when he first started building the island? I walked up to the lion statue and stared at it. Other than the fact that it was pointing a different direction, nothing had changed. I guess we look in the direction it's facing. In this case, the lion is looking at something in particular now, perhaps? I followed its line of sight and saw another lion statue, and that statue had also changed its direction.
なるほど
Interesting.
ライオンの道案内に従え
So follow the
ということ
lion guideposts.
金蔵め凝った仕掛けを作りおる
As intricate as ever, I see, Kinzo. I wasn't complaining anymore. I felt a bit of respect and awe at Kinzo for setting up such an intricate device and having it go undiscovered all these years. There were lion statues standing like guardian deities at the entrance and corners of the chapel. The direction they faced had changed, pointing around to the back of the chapel. There was something there. Oh. It was no longer a surprise. This was after the contraption with the letters, after being guided by the lion, so when a gaping open secret passageway appeared with stairs leading into the darkness below, it wasn't surprising at all. So this is the entrance to the Golden Land, Kinzo? Interesting. Interesting.
見つけたんですか
You
お
find
じい
it?
様の
Grandfather's gold?
黄金を。はい。長い長い時間をかけてたどり着いた
It took ages, but I had reached the
黄
Golden
金
Land.
鏡でした。
過去のゲームによるならば、そこには地下の貴賓室があり、そして
According to previous games, there's an underground VIP room there with 10 tons of gold, right?
はい。
Yep.
地下への武骨な階段を降りていくと、突き当たりには扉が。
After going down a rough stairway, there was a door at the end of a passage.
中はまさに貴賓室と呼ぶべき
Inside it,
美しき内装
it
で
was
した。
beautifully furnished, a true VIP room.
見つけたのは黄金だけだったの
And was
か。
the gold all you found there?
はい、その時は
Yes, at the
積
time.
み上げられた黄金に目がくらまぬわけもありませんでした。
It'd be a lie to say I wasn't dizzied by the sight of all the gold stacked high. This is this.
本物なのか
I lightly touched the pile of gold with my finger. It was hard and cold. I must have imagined it would crumble like a sandcastle if I touched it. Now there could be no doubt. It certainly was a 10-ton pile of gold ingots. Considering the amount of gold I just found, I figured I ought to be crying in delight. I didn't really feel like laughing, but I thought it only good manners to do so in a situation like this, so I forced it out, and because of it, only a few feeble laughs slipped from my mouth. At that moment, even stronger than any delight was a feeling as though I'd enter a place I wasn't supposed to be. I couldn't think of what I should do next, now that the Epitaph's riddle was completed. Then I heard approaching footsteps. It was coming from the stairway I'd entered by. Someone was coming. Could it be Kinzo? If he finds out I've been in a place like this, will I get scolded harshly? I thought about hiding and forgetting this ever happened, but my legs wouldn't move. I kept standing there stunned in front of the pile of gold as the footsteps grew closer and closer. The door opened and I saw who it was. Is it gonna say it was Shannon? It wasn't Kinzo. Oh, it was Genji. Okay, good.
そなたは
自分の力だけでたどり着いたのか。
Have you reached this place by your power alone? No, Genji gave me a hint.
うん。
Indeed. For some time, Genji stared at Beato in silence as though he was calculating something. Then he slowly clapped his hands together, and he did it again, over and over. It took quite a long time before I realized he's applauding me.
親方様は碑文を最初に解いた者に黄金と家督のすべてを譲り渡すとおっしゃられた。
Master has said he will hand over the gold and the headship to the first person who solves the
そ
epitaph.
してその人物がベアトリーチェであ
And he
ると
believed
信
this
じた。
person would be Beatrice.
ベアトリーチェ。
Beatrice?
私が
Me?
これは
It's fate.
運命だ。お前は今日を迎えるのが運命だったのだ。
It is fate that brought you to this day. I didn't really understand what Genji was saying. Surely the shock of seeing the gold had me
こ
paralyzed.
っちへ来なさい。
Come this way.
はい
Okay. Genji opened a closet. Inside was a torso wearing a beautiful dress made of black cloth and golden stitching. When I saw it, I understood immediately. It was the witch's dress. The black dress worn by the Beatrice in the portrait.
これに着替えなさい。
change into this.
これは
This is...
かつてお前が着ていたものだ。
It is something you once wore. I've never worn a dress like this, however I understood what Genji meant. This dress was one that Beatrice once wore, and the one who displays a miracle by solving the epitaph is Beatrice. By reaching this room, I succeed the position of the real Beatrice, the one in the portrait. Why do I call myself Beatrice? Because the name of the golden witch who rules over Rockenjima's night is Beatrice. That's right, I wasn't the real Beatrice, I was a different witch stealing the name of the witch from Kinzo's delusions. And now I have succeeded the real Beatrice. By solving the riddle, my resurrection will be complete. I was the one who decided on that rule. However, this really was a ceremony to resurrect Beatrice. In the past, I believed I could create my own fate with my magic. How ironic the one who could control magic at will would be guided by fate to this place. At the moment, I had no choice but to truly accept and believe in this word called fate.
これを着たら
And after I put this on,
親方様のところへ行く。
you'll go to the
支
master.
度をしなさい。
Ready yourself. Alright, let's see how this confrontation
ここ
goes.
で待て。
Wait here.
はい
I like how they just straight up gave her Beatrice's
親方
right now.
様、
Master.
源氏でございます。
It's Genji. Okay. After Genji knocked, the sound of the study's door unlocking could be heard. After a single glance telling me to wait, Genji entered alone.
このような日が来るとは、
Believe the day has come.
運命とは本当に不思議なもので
It
す。
can be such a strange thing. Kumasawa was with us too. I thought this dress, which didn't really suit me, would lead to a lot of jokes, but she didn't laugh at me at all. On the contrary, when she saw me, her expression turned stern as though a long-awaited day had finally come. My heart raced. Supposedly anyone should have been able to solve the epitaph. There shouldn't be anything strange about me solving it. Genji and the others kept wearing serious expressions, and that, along with everything else, made this feel like some sort of grand ceremony. The suffocating silence continued. Eventually the door opened and Genji peeked out.
お入りください。
Enter.
ベアトリーチェ様。
Beatrice-sama. He was saying those words to me, not to the person I'd been until a short while ago.
さあ、
Go ahead.
どうぞ。ベアトリーチェ様。
Beatrice-sama. Kumasawa also urged me forward with a respectful bow. Kinzo was probably waiting for me inside. What expression should I wear as I go in? How should I greet him? I don't have a clue. As the two of them motioned me forward, it was all I could do to avoid tripping over my dress as I walked.
金蔵さん、
Kinzo-san?
いらっしゃいましたぞ。
She's here. Kinzo was crouched on the ground as though kneeling before the portrait of Beatrice. At Nanjo's words, he slowly turned, still crouching. Is he gonna say the line again? Kinzo's eyes were already red with crying. When he saw me, he groaned with wonder.
ベアトリーチ
He
ェ、
said
ベ
it.
アトリーチェ。
He's saying it again. Had he even forgotten how to stand up? He crawled over to where I was, while calling out to me with the name of the woman he'd loved long ago. I was too stunned to move. Kinzo grabbed the hem of my dress, gripped it tightly, and curled up and sobbed.
ベアトリーチェ、
Beatrice.
すまなかった、すまなかった。
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
お前の心は分かっていたのに、私は何という。
I knew how you felt, and yet
すまなかった。許しておくれ。許しておくれ。
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. The words weren't directed at me. However, just standing here like this was all I needed to do. Kinzo's moment of atonement, the moment he'd spent half his life searching for, had finally come. A human's life is stained with sin, so humans seek forgiveness while they still live. However, in most cases, this person capable of granting such forgiveness is no longer on this earth. It was like that for Kinzo too. The one he sought no longer existed in this world. Instead, that forgiveness was woven together by a miracle, and now Kinzo had received it.
おお、ベアトリーチェ、ベアトリーチェ。
Hello, my friend. Good evening.
ベアトリーチェ、たとえ許してくれなくてもいい、何も言わなくてもい
You
い。
need not forgive me. You need not say anything.
私はお前にただ一言謝れればそれでよ
I
かっ
simply needed to apologize to you just once.
た。
Hello and Happy New Year. Depending on where you're at. The interesting parts, yes. Ginzo kept grasping the dress's hem and sobbing, "The sins of humans are not forgiven from without. Forgiveness is found through regret and repentance. I want to believe that some sin, some fault of his has been forgiven thanks to the way I look." Kinzo's sobbing gradually ceased, and he slowly looked up at me and rose. He looked unsteady. Nanjo rushed forward to support him.
よくぞ生きていてくれた。
So I see you're alive.
嬉しい。
Glad. This time the words weren't directed through me, but at me. I hesitated, unsure how I should respond.
今日まで親方様に内密にしておりましたことをどうかお許しください。
I beg your forgiveness for keeping this a secret from you all this time.
よい。
No matter.
よいのだ、源氏。
I don't fault you, Genji.
私の犯した罪を思えば、今日までの日々はすべて贖罪のために必要な日々であったのだ。
Every day until now has been necessary for my atonement.
しかし今日の奇跡は紛れもなく本物の奇跡でございます。
There is no mistake. Today's miracle is a true one.
彼女は誰の助けもなく
By her
自
own
分
power
だ
without
けの
anyone's
力
help,
誰よりも最初に碑文を解
she
いたので
solved
す。
the epitaph before anyone else. Screw you, she got given the answer. She got given the biggest hint, which is the exact location he lived. Makes it easier.
よくぞ
Well done.
あの
Solving
難
such difficult
解な
epitaph
碑文を解けたな。
without anyone else's power and just like, Except for the part where Genji gave her a hint to get her on the right track. Genji cheating. Thanks.
はい。
Indeed.
母の声によく似ておる。
Your voice resembles your mother's.
面影も母や娘を思い出す。
Even your face reminds me of that mother and daughter.
紛れもなく、お前にはベアトリーチェの血が流れてお
Beatrice's
る。
blood flows through your veins.
はい。
Yes.
若き日のクアドリアンのお嬢様の面影がよく残っております。
The traces of the Lady of Kuadorian in her youth are right there. Does my face look like someone else's?
ベアトリーチェ様、
Beatrice-sama?
これまであなたにも秘密にしてきたことをどう
Please
かお
forgive me
許
for
しく
keeping
だ
this
さ
a
い。
secret even from you.
あなたはベアトリーチェ様と親方様よりお生まれになったのです。
Your parents are Beatrice-sama and the Master. Eh? Eh?
真実でございます。あなた様は今日まで両親のいない子として育てられてまいりました。
Until now, you've been raised as a child without
し
parents.
かし本当のお父上は親方
Your
様、
true father is the
そ
Master.
して本当のお母上はベアトリーチェ様なのでございます。
And your true mother is Beatrice-sama. The fun thing about the epitaph is that whether you solve it or you try to and give up, you understand how difficult it was and how one was reasonably expected to solve it, making it a miracle she solved it. Wasn't reasonably. I mean, I think the biggest part of the solution is knowing where to look on the map to know where his hometown is. Right? That's where I sit down and I'm like, where the fuck am I looking? It's like, I can reason out some of the other ideas once we start getting there, and I can understand how those connections are made, but I don't know how, I don't see how I was, supposed to, I mean, I can, really, really vaguely guess, but, it seems like being given the thing I couldn't solve for makes it easy. It's like, okay, I looked at it and was like, oh, I have some ideas for these later parts, but I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to come up with the hometown. And then we go to this part, and it's like Beatrice gets handed the part I couldn't get. And I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if I got given the key I was looking for to the puzzle, I'd get it fucking too, right? Like, sure, it's an achievement and that it's difficult and you can understand that it's fairly difficult and you have to work through it, like the rest of the parts. But I feel like it's kind of really easy once you get like the massive, huge ass starting point of it's in Taiwan. It's like the starting point. Look at a map of Taiwan. Oh, that's a lot easier than like my beloved hometown. Oh, cool. Where's your hometown? Fucked if I know. It seems like it's way too easy to just be given Taiwan. All the adults know the hometown, yet they couldn't solve it individually. I mean, I don't know how hard they were actually trying. They might have just looked at it for a day and been like, ah, fuck it, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it feels like a really big cop-out, though, for her not to know anything and for Genji to straight up tell her how to get started. It's like, if she actually got stuck for 2 years, would Genji have... If she actually got stuck for 2 years, would Genji have just given her another hint and kept giving her hints until she fucking solved it? Like, what an achievement being told the answer by Genji. Because I mean, Shannon said, or Shannon, Beatrice, whatever her name is, said, oh, yeah, I can't solve it, it's too difficult. And Genji's like, Taiwan. Like, okay, great. You gave someone, like, an answer right away. Like, obviously it's too hard, but yeah, you solved it on your own? Sure, Genji gave you, the first clue, which kind of cheapens it a little bit. It cheapens it a little bit because it's like the answer, you know, I, the viewer, don't know, and I'm trying to solve by, like, looking at I'm looking at, like, the entire fucking planet. Or I'm looking at, like, a third of the planet, and she's like, oh yeah, just Taiwan, easy. It's like, if I'm looking at Taiwan, then I look at the rail lines and highways like I was originally going to, and I'm like, well... And then I can, like, narrow it down way faster, but I have to search the whole country and the whole world, and she's just like, Taiwan, easy. It's like, she's not solving as much. So I lose, like, a little bit of respect for the difficulty of the puzzle and her achievement when she's given, like, the key I'm looking for, right? Like, oh, I'm looking for this key and I can't solve it. And that's all I've looked for. And she's just, like, handed the key, and I'm like, oh, everything else seems pretty straightforward. It's like, oh, I got here? And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't a river, and I'm like, no shit, I solved it. It's like, no shit, I solved that without really any help at all. Like, that was an easy step to look for. And then she's like, oh, then I found this, and the rail line's called this. And I'm like, wow, that would have been fucking easy if I'd known where the fuck I was looking. Like, all of your stuff is so easy. But anyway, that's fine. I mean, I don't really care that... Story-wise, I don't care that she actually got given the hint. I'm just saying, like, from a reader's puzzle perspective, it makes it really easy when you're given the answers. But for, like, the purposes of, like, solving the puzzle, I'm like, yeah, this works as a solution. Now, if only they'd given us a real hint as to the location, that was a little bit better. I would have been pretty happy. Sure, still, like, who cares? You know, she got given the answer and she's getting the rewards. That's cool. I don't have a problem with, like, the writing of this scene or Beatrice or Shannon / Beatrice getting her, like, reward here. I don't have a problem with that. Is that really?
Hi.
Yes. You truly are a descendant of Beatrice, Sama. Is such a strange fate really possible? I've dreamed about it. Dreamed about what it'd be like to be the Golden Witch Beatrice, but that dream had been mine alone. I dreamed if I solved the Epitaph and carried out its ceremony, I would revive as the true Beatrice. It's okay to believe. But since I've solved it, Beatrice really revived? I truly carried Beatrice's. What?
Hi.
Yes. There's no doubt of that whatsoever. Also, this has got to be the worst proof on the planet for proving someone has Beatrice's blood. It must have been hard for you to live this day without knowing a parent's affection. How wonderfully you've grown. Y'all knew about me? Genji, Kumasawa, and even Nanjo nodded wordlessly. Now that I think about it, there might have been lots of hints. I always felt as though there was something special about me. Wow, that's very unique. Always thinking there's something special about you, like fucking everyone on the planet. Genji, and especially Kumasawa, treated me kindly. Wow. Does that mean this day is a promised day which would eventually come no matter what? Probably, yeah, pretty much. I think so. I don't understand anything anymore. It's all a miracle from God. A promised fate led me to this day.
Beatrice.
A miracle from Genji is how I would call it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
No.
Leon.
Leon.
そなたに与えようと思っていた名前だ。
That's the name I wanted to give you.
あなたの本当の名前でございます。
It's your true name. It has an on character.
レオン、今こそそなたにベアトリーチェより与えられたすべてを返そう。
I will now return to you everything Beatrice has given me.
黄金もそれによって生み出された後ろ宮家のすべてもそなたに返そう。
I return to you the gold as well as everything of the Ashiromiya family which was created by it. Kinzo stuck out a hand that looked like a rotting tree. On his finger was a ring with the one-winged eagle crest, the symbol of the Ashiromiya family head. He pulled it off, grasped it tightly, and held it out to me. I didn't know what to do. Slowly, as though they were being drawn forward, I held out my hands, palm up. After pressing his fists against my cupped hands, he slowly opened his hands and let the ring drop. My child, Leon. All the ways your fate has been toyed with until today were caused by my sins. Please forgive me. You will now inherit my ring. You are the new Ushiromiya family head. All the gold belongs to you. I ask you use it as you please and hope it will be enough to heal some small part of the pain you've suffered. The trifling amount of gold, maybe nothing in comparison to the sin I committed. But even so, it should be enough to bring you some comfort. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
Leon, I have a final request.
何でしょうか?
What is that? Did you
呼んでくれぬか
call me? What did you say?
すみません。
私をお父様と
Call me father?
呼べぬ気持ちはわかる。
I understand why you're not able to.
私はそなたに何も父らしい
I've
こ
not
と
been
を
a
しなか
father
った
to you in any way.
そしてそなたもまた父など知らずに育った。
You have been raised without knowing anything about a father.
とても口にできる言葉で
I
はな
realize
い
it's
と
not
分
a
か
name you
って
can
い
call me
る。
by.
そしてそれを求める資格が私にないことも分
I
か
realize
って
I
い
have
る。
no right to ask this
だ
of you.
が
Keep
そ
that
れ
in
を
mind,
承知で
please.
それさえ聞けたなら
If I could hear that,
もう
I'd have no
私
further
に
regrets.
何の未練もない。
After being asked that, could I possibly have refused? Even if I am his child, I can't acknowledge him as my father, so it felt truly strange to say it, and yet I decided saying it was perhaps the right thing to do. Only God can truly forgive sins, but though it may be temporary, people can be saved by the forgiveness of others. Yeah.
お父様。
Father. The awkward word made Kinzo laugh. Drops of silver fell from both his eyes, and at that moment the shadow that had covered his face was wiped away.
ありがとう、リオン。
Thank you, Leon.
我が子よ。
My child.
そしてベアトリーチェ。
And Beatrice as well.
最後に許しを請う機会を与えてくれて。
Thank you for this last chance to ask for forgiveness.
もちろん、これしきで許されたとは思いません。
Of course, I don't believe I've been forgiven by this alone.
続きは地獄の豪華で焼かれながらとしようで
I'll
は
atone
ない
for the
か。
rest as I burn in the fires of hell.
後ろ宮金蔵、我がせいに一切の未練なし。
Shiramiya Kinzo have no more regrets in this life. None at all.
心残りもやり残しも何もなし。
No regrets, no matters left unfinished. Oh, he's going crazy again. Looking up to the heavens, he spread his arms as though facing an applauding audience, laughing at the top of his lungs. It was the final pleasure known only to those who have been released from all regrets of this world. His laugh weakened, and when it disappeared, he dropped to his knees, like a puppet with its strings cut, and slowly fell to the ground.
Oh,
Master?
Oyakata-sama.
Nanjo sensei.
Dr. Nanjo? Yes. Though their master had fallen, they walked up to him slowly. They already knew. His soul had already burned itself out. After checking his pulse, Nanjo shook his head and stood back up. Well, that's fucking awkward. You don't get the gold and no one's gonna recognize you because you're a servant who stole all the gold and was told about it by Genji or some shit. That's gonna suck. It was a peaceful death. I don't think he had any regrets at all. Maybe that he was dead long before now. It was only his magic and tenacity that kept him here so long. He finally had a chance to apologize to Beatrice-sama for everything. Finished everything he had to do. Please rest in peace. I believe you've redeemed yourself. Oh, that was the one-night reunion between me and my father. And also our final farewell. Well, now you'll never get any of the gold or the inheritance because he's fucking dead and can't make that proclamation. Ripperoni. The gold all belongs to you now. If you want to exchange it for money, I can arrange for that. I hear it's worth around 20 billion yen. From here on, any of your dreams in this world can be granted with money. It's gotta be tough to think of what to do with this much money when it suddenly comes your way. There's nothing I desire among the things money can buy. So for the present, I'd like to leave this here. Of course, I'm glad I have a lot of money. However, money can't heal the pain in my heart. I just want him to come back. Wait, come again? You literally have 20 billion yen and you don't think you can order your... You own 20 billion yen and can command the servants at will, and you don't think you can just be like, give me the name and number of a Shiramiya battler so I can order him to this fucking island with the offer of like 50 million yen. Like, you can't just use the money to go find him? Or to conjure him? Oh gods, gods. Alright. I mean, it's the same logic she used last time, right? She can't reasonably ask to get Battler's number to make sure he remembers her. She's just gonna, like, sit passively. Oh well. And it shall be left here as you wish. Also take this key. What's this? It's a key to the underground VIP room. If you use it, you won't need to use the entrance contraption. She was the only one who knew the answer to the Epitaph's riddle, and the only key to the place was now hers. At this point, she truly was the master of the golden VIP room. You are already the master of Rockinjima. You have the right to know all the island's secrets. We should talk about Kuadorian too. It's a mansion your mother lived in. I'm sure you've heard rumors about it. Kuadorian.
2つの屋敷があります。
There are two mansions on this island, one at either end.
一方は私たちのよく知るお屋敷。
One the mansion we know well,
もう一
the
方
other a
は
hidden mansion.
クワドリアンと呼ば
That
れ
is
る
Kuidorian.
隠し屋敷でございます。
この島の地下には戦争中に作られた基地の跡があるのです。
Below this island are the remains of a military base built during the
親
war.
方様はそれを利用されて島の両端を行
Used
き来
that
さ
to
れて
travel
おりまし
between the
た。
two ends of the island.
この部屋の奥に地下道があり、それを進めば島の反対側のクワドリアンの地下につながります。
There's an underground path in the back of this room. If you follow it, you will reach the basement of Kuidorian on the other end of this
親
island.
方様しかご存知でない秘密の屋敷です。
It's a secret mansion only the master knew
も
of.
ちろんその屋敷ももはや
And of course, that
新
mansion
しき当主のも
also
ので
belongs
す。
to the new head.
あんたのお母さんが暮らしていた屋敷
The
だ。
mansion your mother lived in.
一度行ってみるのもいいだろう。
It's probably worth taking a trip over there sometime.
私のお母
My
さん。
mother? I've lived alone my whole life. The only person I've ever felt like calling mother is Kumasawa-san, who always helped me out. So when there's a mansion where a mother I've never met or seen lived, who exactly am I?
何でもお尋ねください。
Ask any questions you
今
want.
のあなたには
You
す
deserve
べ
to
て
know
を知る
everything.
資格がございます。
今は何が何だかわからなくて、
Right now I'm feeling very confused.
何から聞けばいいかもわかりません。
I don't even know where I should start
で
asking
もきっと
questions.
たくさん聞きたいことが
Sure, I'll think of plenty of things to
これ
ask
から
about.
その時
When I do, please tell
教
me.
えてください。
かしこまりました。
As you wish. Also,
あと、そんなにかしこまられると
being treated so respectfully like that
居心地が悪いです。
is a bit
こ
uncomfortable.
れまでと同じ口調で話しかけてくれた方が
I'd be happier if you could
嬉しい
talk to me
で
the
す。
same way you've always done.
それをお望みでしたら、そのようにもいたします。
If that is what you wish, I'll do so.
私もその方が気楽で
It's
す。
easier for me too.
さ
Well,
て
now.
これからどうするんだ、源氏さん。
What now, Genji-san?
金蔵さんは亡くな
Ginzo's
った。
dead.
旦那様と奥様にお亡くなりになられたことをお伝えします。
I will tell Kraus-sama and Madam he's passed away.
そしてリオン様が正式な当主後継者であることを
And
お
then we
伝
must tell
えし
them
な
that
くてはなりません。
Leon-sama is the official successor to the headship.
今日よりあなたが後ろ宮家当主なのですから。
After all, from this point forth, you are the Shiromiya family head.
私が当主なんてそんな。それに次期当主は
Isn't
クラウス
Kraus-sama
様
the
では。
successor?
碑文の謎を解いた者が次期当主である。
The one who solves the Epitaph's riddle is the
これ
successor.
はお預かりしている遺言状にも
There
明
exists a
記して
will
ござい
specifying
ま
this
す。
much.
親方様の最後の命令があなたに全てを引き継ぐことなのです。
The master's final order was that you were to inherit everything.
待ってください。
Wait, wait, wait.
お気持ちは嬉しいですが、私には
I
次期
appreciate
当
the
主
sentiment.
な
I
んて
can't do
務
the
まり
job
ま
of
せ
being
ん
the
し。
successor. You don't know what the fuck you're doing at all. Pretty bad method for choosing it if you want a successful successor, but hey, Kinzo's got his magic. I'm sure it'll work out.
そんな退任、とても引き受けできません。
Accept such a big
その
responsibility.
役目は、やはりクラウス様が引き継がれ
Better
る
for
方が
Kraus to inherit that
いい
role.
と思います。
But this is also partial. I like how she's doing this, but we can also lay the blame entirely at Genji's feet for this unwillingness to take responsibility. Because of their obsession with their strict hierarchy and literally making servants call themselves furniture. Like the inability to accept responsibility if you're proven to be genetically related to the head and to such a noble house is impossible because you've beaten it into them that they are unworthy of such a thing. Nice strategy. Nice strategy, Genji. Couldn't have seen this one coming.
よろしいのです
Are
か。
you certain? I mean, I don't even know why you're questioning this, Genji. You literally spent like how old is she? Like 18? How old is she? Like 16 at this point? No, 17? You spent 17 years beating it into her head that she was unworthy or and incapable of any form of leadership. So why on earth would she ever accept a leadership role? Unless she was like hella ambitious to have a leadership role of her own volition. I'm just like pointing that out, right? Like the life she's lived, especially in the Yoshirimiya family, has led her to the impression that like certain people are born to lead, and that she is not. Therefore, no amount of being told she is will change that overnight, let alone in 5 minutes.
私は今日ここで
Today I've
自分
learned
が
who I
誰
am.
かを知ることができました。人なら誰でも知っている両親のこと。
Everyone knows about their parents.
私には
I didn't since the time of
生
my
まれ
birth.
ながらにしてそれがなかった。それを今日ここで
And today I finally learned the
得
truth.
る。それだけで
That enough. That alone is enough
私
for
は
me.
十分なんです。
If I suddenly became the Yoshirimiya family head, how would Kraus-sama react? How angry would Madam be? I don't want to become the head if it means making them feel like that. Today I learned who I am, who gave birth to me, how and when. These are things I want to learn from them as time goes by. These alone are enough.
私はリオン。
I am
そ
Leon.
して黄金の魔女
And I am the Golden
ベア
Witch,
トリーチェです。
Beatrice.
それが分かっただけで私は十分で
Knowing
す。
that is enough for me. Actually, what you should do is say, take the epitaph down, it's been solved.
私は当主を主張するつもりはありません。その役目は
Kraus-sama can take the job. Because all she's doing is opening herself up to someone else solving the riddle and claiming to be the first. After they kill everyone, or Kraus claiming it once he finds it, or Battler claiming it once he finds it, or Eva claiming it once she finds it. All of which have happened in the stories.
それは後ろ宮家当主としての
Is
ご
that your
命
order?
令で
Is
すか
the Yoshirimiya family head?
はい。
Yes.
かしこまりまし
As
た
you wish,
親方
Master.
様ではそのようにいたし
I
ます
shall make it so.
今夜のこともすべて内密にしてくだ
Please
さい。
don't tell anyone about what happened tonight.
私はこれからも
I want to
私の
stay
まま
me.
でいます。私が後宮家の当主になってあるいは黄金を手に入れて
Nothing I'd want to do
や
with
り
the
たいこと
Yoshirimiya
など
headship
何
or
も
the
ないの
gold.
ですから。
I just
この島でこれまでと同じように
I want to wait here on this island as I've done in the
待ってい
past.
たいだけなのです。これまでと同じに
I want everything to be exactly
何
the
も
same as
変
it
わる
was.
それだけが
That's my only
私の
wish.
望みです。
かしこまりました親方様
As you wish,
今夜の
Master.
ことはすべてこの場限りの秘密といたします
Everything that's happened tonight will not go beyond those present
熊
here.
沢
Kumasawa?
南條先生
Nanjo?
新しき当主様は
That's the
そう
wish
ご
the new
希
head.
望でいらっしゃいます
あんたがそうしたいというなら私は何の異論もない。
If that's what you want, I have no objections.
金蔵さんの遺言はあんたに全てを委ねる。
Kinzo-san's will... Kinzo-san's will entrusted everything to you.
そのあんたがそれを望むなら
And this
私
is
た
what
ち
you
に
want
は
to do.
何
None of
の
us will
文句も
complain.
ない。
And this is where the Yoshirimiya downfall begins, because apparently Crow sucks as a family head and as an investor, and because the real head wants to do nothing. I mean, people have already commented that their obsession with their hierarchy leads people to believe they don't want to do anything. Leads people to believe in the hierarchy. And so I would assume that their obsession with the hierarchy also leads the inheritor, who is at the very bottom, to believe they're incapable of doing anything anyway. So even if she's like, there's problems, her solution is going to be, I can't do anything anyway, and I can't possibly have done anything leadership wise, so I should never be in a position to do this. Like that would be if we assume that their education or culture is thoroughly, if this culture is thoroughly dominant and there's no belief in anything else. Yeah, Sayu. Oh no, Sayu is in the hierarchy. She's at the literal bottom, and Sayu is in the hierarchy at the literal bottom, and it is physically impossible for him to remove it from that position. So there's no way she could possibly lead because she's at the bottom, and she's always been at the bottom. So she has no abilities to command, and she's unworthy of it because she's inherently at the bottom and inherently unworthy of it. Simply saying that she is doesn't change her impression and her expectation that she is unworthy immediately. She's a maid, She is in the hierarchy. She's at the bottom, very bottom, so far below everyone that it's impossible to rise up. That's their, like, medieval hierarchical structure, right? Every single person in the family is above her, and it will always be above her no matter what. And then she solves the epitaph, and they're like, well, now you're relevant. And it's like, but this person's been told they'll never, ever, ever be capable of doing anything great like the Yoshiromiyas, so why would they suddenly gain the confidence to be able to do things like that? Like, it's a really bad, it's a really bad trope in some stories where they do that, where it's like, ah, yes, this person who's like a literal random peasant magically gets told that they're actually important, and boom, suddenly they're an amazing leader, and you're like, how on earth did they how on earth was it even remotely understandable that this person would suddenly gain all the confidence in the world and actually be amazing at, like, everything they ever try to do once they're just told that they're actually secretly great? Like, sure, it works for a great, or like, rags to riches story or something like that, or like, you know, a secret inheritance story, but it makes more sense, especially in this scenario, that they would actually be, like, completely unwilling to shoulder any of the responsibility, as they've basically been conditioned for like 18 years of their life to under the concept that they are literally incapable of doing anything intelligent. So, like, she's not obligated to do anything unless it's something she's already come to an understanding she's physically capable of doing. Because the philosophy is not, if you work really hard, you will become a great person like the Yoshiromiyas. It is, you are beneath the Yoshiromiyas, you do as we say, you are familyless and will never ever become as good as us. And that is what she's living, the life she's living, right? Since we've said that her philosophy for, like, finding an out battler or following up on him is based on this hierarchical position where she could never ever reach battler's level without him reaching down to her, we have to come to the conclusion that her other actions are based on that as well. So this action where she refuses to take it is basically based on the same conditioning that told her not to pursue battler after he supposedly left the family due to unrelated reasons. Right? It follows that if your motive for one thing is something, your motive for something else might be the other, unless you have another reason or a bigger, more relevant motive takes that over. So in this case, it seems like the same thing. You say exactly the same as it was? You really mean exactly the same? With no differences at all? Yes. We'll keep this as a secret. This place and the gold will be sealed away. If I need money, I'll ask you about it then. That's enough for me.
かしこまりました。ここに至る仕掛けも鍵も、すべてあなただけのものでございます。
The device leading to this place and the key both belong to you.
そして今夜のことは、私ども一同、秘密にすることを
All of us swear to
誓い
keep
ま
the events of this night a secret. Alas, we are not cunning enough to remove one of the keys, or cunning enough to remove the epitaph.
次期当主はクラウス様となられますが、
Kurosama will be the successor.
私の中では
In my heart, you'll be
真
the
の
only
当
true
主様
successor.
はあなただけでございます。ご命令に従い、これからもこれまでと同じように振る舞いますが、
As you've ordered,
いつ
we'll
でも
behave
ご
the
用
same
命
way
ください。
we always have. But please order us when it suits you.
私の主は
You're
あ
my
なた
only
だけ
master.
なのでございます。
Thank you. Thank you very much.
ありがとうございます。
A vast mountain of gold in the ring of the Yoshiromia family had the dress of the portrait Beatrice, and I became the true Beatrice, the Golden Witch, right here in my own golden land. If I think about it, not much has actually changed. I've always been the Golden Witch. I've just had a few more people acknowledge it. November 29th, the day I became a true witch.
ああ、我こそは我にして我らな
Oh,
り。
I am one yet many.
我は黄金の魔女。
I am the Golden
Beatrice.
Witch, Beatrice,
この六軒島の
the
真の
true
支
ruler
配
of
者にして
Rockenshima. and possessor of
無
endless
限
gold.
の黄金の所有者。でも何も満たされず。
And yet I'm in no way complete.
たった一人の思い人が帰ってきてくれる日を。
I await the return of the one I love. Drama. It feels like we should be towards the end of this, what would be a very short chapter 7. But I guess we'll see where we're going to next. I mean, I feel like it's only like 2 scenes to the end of the chapter, but it would be a really short chapter, but I don't know if that's actually the case. Because we have like the motive, we have the who, we have the why. We more or less have the how. More or less. I mean, we don't have the solution to all the puzzle. All of the puzzles haven't been handed to us, but we have answers for most of them. That is the end of my tale.
あら、
Oh,
それでおしまい？
is that all?
そこからの2年間が楽しいんじゃない
Aren't the
の？
next 2 years pretty fun?
必要ね。
We don't need them.
どれだけ苦しみ、葛藤したか。
Heard in past games about your inner conflict and how you
過去の
suffered.
ゲームであれだけ語
You
ら
don't
せ
need
て
to say anymore.
これ以上語らせる人。
魂が満たない
You mean the
影た
conflict
ちの葛藤
of the furniture with
ですか？
incomplete souls? All that business? Yeah, we've already got this solution.
決闘はしたのです。
There was a duel.
決着もつきかけていました。
Result had almost been decided.
しかし、1986年という年は
The year 1986 was
あまりに無慈悲
incredibly
なすぎました。
merciless.
運命を呪ったろうな。
I'll bet you cursed your fate.
はい。
Yes, yeah.
あと1年早ければ、
It was 1 year
あるい
sooner.
は
Or 1 year later.
遅ければ。
決闘の勝敗は違う形ではあってもついただろ
Duel
うな。
would have been settled. The way it got settled would have been different. Silently, Claire hung her head. If only I'd been given time. Or else if I hadn't been given time to worry. I hate everything. Why did it have to be 1986? I guess we're going to that explanation.
私は
I decided
委ねる決断をしまし
to
た。
abandon control over everything.
委ねる
Abandon control?
先代当主より全てを受け継いだ儀式の時のように、
Like the ceremony which I inherited everything from the previous head,
私もま
I
た
decided to abandon myself to the fate
奇
known
跡
as a
という名の
miracle.
運命に身を委ねることを選びました。
Or maybe more accurate to say I abandoned myself to the choice of the roulette. We could not even decide our own fate. We let fate decide everything for us. Perhaps one of us will find what they seek, or perhaps all will be joined and released. Perhaps someone will put a stop to this folly.
どの運命をルーレットが指し示そうとも、
No matter what fate the roulette chose,
私はそれに従うことにしまし
I
た。
plan to obey its ruling. I guess Burnkiss does that for the
私は
what? She wants to know what's happening?
運命
I
に
won't resist fate.
抗ったって、
After all, whenever I've tried in the past,
いつだって
Fate's been
運命は
heartless to me.
私に非常だったんですから。
see? Has had the opinion that she can't control everything beaten into her, and now she's stating her motive. She's being passive because she believes she can't do anything. Wasn't I just talking about this like 2 minutes ago? How I thought the character wouldn't do anything, even if they had all that power, because they don't believe they could do anything? Claire hung her head and let out a single tear drop down. Humans will carelessly say people possess infinite possibility. However, the Endless Witch knows how limited those possibilities really are. So out of her limited fate, she tried to create the infinite. By trusting her fate to God, she tried to create the infinite. However, this didn't mean she was resigned to her fate. She spun the roulette of fate with an unshakable and certain will. A certain fate where absolutely no one could escape if the epitaph was not solved. She sealed the island with it, herself included. October 4th and 5th, 1986 were sealed away by an absolute and certain will, and she abandoned herself to that short span of time and the one fate out of many that would be chosen on that island.
これで
And now my confession is over.
今度こそ私
Isn't that
の
enough?
告白はお
To
しまい
place
です。
my motive for the crime?
私の事件への動機は
If you still don't know, I'll say no more.
これでわからぬなら
It's not as though anyone could understand my heart anyway.
私の心など誰もわからぬでしょうから。
そうだな。
Yeah, sure.
それ以
No
上
need to
語
say
る
more.
必要はね。
運命の袋小路に迷い込んだ私にとって
Leon, after watching how I've wandered through the dead
あ
end
な
of
たがどれ
fate,
ほどの希望であるか
do you see how great a hope you are to me?
私はあなたの
I'm a
別の可
different,
能性
possible you.
あなたが幸せであることは妬ましく
The happiness you live in makes me jealous, but even more overwhelmed.
嬉しいので
Happiness.
す。あなたという未来があり得た。
The future you represent was a possible one.
今の私には
Right
それ
now,
だ
the
け
fact
で
alone is my salvation.
救いなのです。
私は
I,
私の分まで
please live with enough happiness for
幸
both
せ
of
に
us.
なってください。あなたに最後に会えて
Glad I got to meet you once at the end.
感謝します。
You have my
ベ
thanks,
ルン・カステル卿。
Lady Berncastel.
私はあんたの葬儀を執り行ってるだけ。
I'm just carrying at your funeral.
感謝なんていらないわ。
No need to thank me.
では、
Well,
そろそろおしまいにしま
about
しょう
time to end
か。
this.
亡者は亡者の国へ。そろそろ送り出されるべきだわ。
About time to send the dead to the land of the dead.
はい。
Yes.
私のお葬式なのですから。
My funeral, after all.
私はある
Thanking
べきところ
Berncastel. Yep.
にもう帰りまし
Time
ょ
for
う。
me to go back where I belong.
そんな顔をし
Don't
ない
make
で。
that face.
そして、
Please rejoice.
あなた
You
が
weren't me.
私で私もまた、
After all, I rejoice in that
あ
fact
な
as
たが
well.
私でないことを。
生きます
I'll live.
あなたの分まで
I'll live for the both of us.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
幸せになって、
Live in happiness.
そして
And someday,
素敵な人と出会い、
find yourself a wonderful person.
願わくば、あなたが魔女として目覚めず、人間として生
I
き、
pray you live as a human without awakening as a witch.
一なる魂を持って、愛するたった一
You have a
人の
whole
人を
single
愛し
soul
抜
and
ける、
love one person with all your strength.
そんな人生を送
I
る
hope
こ
you
と
live
を
that sort of life.
願っています。
Have I figured out the how done for everything? I have a pretty solid idea. I assume that's going to be chapter 8 though. Or, yeah. Episode / chapter 8 is going to be the how done it for everything. I mean, if they go into that with 7, I guess they could do that, but I feel like... I guess they could do it. I guess they could do it this chapter too if they want to.
ウィルさん、
This
あなたという傍観者に
Thank you for being an
感謝します
observer. I don't feel like they give enough information in any of these chapters, so even if they had the pacing for that, they wouldn't do it, but... I imagine we'll get like a 2-parter or something for this, if it's not ending now. Thank you for being
あなた
observer, Will.
は私が本当に理解してほしかったあの人ではないけれど、
You aren't the one I wanted to
私の
understand me,
心を
but
救
you've
って
saved
くれ
my
ま
heart.
した。
俺はお前を
I understand
利
you.
心をないがしろにしね。
I don't neglect the heart.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
私は理解してくれた素晴らしき傍観者のあなたに
Now that I have a splendid
私
observer
の
who
最後を
understands me.
委ねたいと思います。
My goodness, talk faster, please, Claire. I want to entrust my final moments to you.
俺でいいのか。
Are you sure you're okay with it being me?
はい、
I'm expecting her to say something else, yes?
私にとって大事なのは縁ある人ではなく理解してくれた人です。
For me, the important thing is whether the person understands me, not how well I know them. What I wanted to understand didn't. A person I don't know did understand. There's nothing sad about it. On the contrary, I'm grateful for this miracle. A person was able to understand even though he has no relation to me.
あなたは良き傍観者であり、私を理解してくださったたった一人の人。
You're a good observer and the only one who's managed to understand me.
それで縁には十分です。
The connection is strong enough.
わかった。
Understood.
私の心臓を名もなき素晴らしき傍観者のあなたに
I offer my heart to you, nameless and wonderful observer.
リオン、
Leon,
下がりなさい。
stand back.
何が始まるんですか?
What's gonna happen?
ミステリーは探偵が引導を渡さなきゃ死ねないのよ。
In the mystery genre, there can be no death unless the detective performs the last rites.
お前の心臓だけ止めればいいのか?
Will just stopping your heart be enough?
死者を弔うとき、心臓だけを棺に収めますか?
When you mourn the dearly departed, do you put their heart into the coffin?
わかった。
Got it.
土より生まれたものは土に帰る。
That which was born from earth will return to earth.
全てを土に返そう。
I'll return all of you to the earth.
土は土に、
Earth to earth.
灰は灰に、
Ashes to
塵は
ashes.
塵に、
Dust to dust.
幻は幻に、
Illusions to
そ
illusions.
して
Dreams to
夢は
dreams.
夢に。
あ
Right.
それでは始めましょう。
Let us begin.
私の埋葬を。
This is my burial.
いつでもいい。
Whenever you're ready,
始めましょう。
begin.
まるで私の最後のゲームの
Almost like the end of
最
my
後
last
のよう
game.
に。
Light gathered at Will's back and a sword materialized there. Slowly he drew it out. Its pitch black tip, which could neatly slice truth from fiction, swung once, leaving a black trail, and then again leaving a white trail.
真実と虚構を切って分ける。
I'll cut the truth out from the
Kina.
fiction. Come! Following Will's lead, a similar sword appeared in Claire's hand. Its tip glinted silver, the opposite of Will's.
第1のゲーム、第1の番。
First game, first
園
Twilight.
芸倉庫に6人の死体。
6 corpses in the gardening shed.
幻は幻に。
Illusions to
土には
illusions.
帰れぬムクロが幻に帰
The
る。
corpse that cannot return to Earth returns to illusions. Will's pitchback slash cut across Claire's body at an angle. The blade passed through her like she was water, but its tip sent golden flower petals scattering.
第1のゲーム、
First game,
第2
second
の番。
Twilight.
寄り添いし2人のムクロは鎖で守られし密室に。
Two corpses. Two corpses are close in a closed room, protected by a chain.
幻は幻に。
Illusions to illusions.
幻の鎖は幻しか閉じ込めない。
A chain of illusions can only trap illusions. The razor thin black blur sent golden flower petals scattering again.
第1のゲーム、第4
First
の
game,
番。
fourth Twilight. Ah yes, Kinzo, the man who's been
密
dead
室
already.
書斎の老当主は灼熱の窯の中に。
The old head from the closed room study confined in a scorching furnace.
幻は幻に。
Illusions to
幻
illusions.
の男はあるべきところへ。
Let the man of illusions go where he belongs.
第1のゲーム、
First game,
第
fifth
5
Twilight.
位に胸を捧げし少年の最
Last moments of the sacrificed boy with the stake in his chest.
幻は幻に。
Illusions to illusions.
幻想の魔女と首は幻想しか貫
The
けない。
witch and stake of illusions pierce not but illusions.
第1のゲーム、第6、第
First
7、
game,
第
6th,
8の
7th,
番。
8th Twilight.
歌う少女の密室に横たわる3
Three
人のム
corpses
クロ。
in the closed room of the singing girl.
幻は幻に。
Illusions to
盲目な
illusions.
る少女が歌うは幻。密室幻想。
Illusions are the blind girl's song, the illusion of a closed room.
お見事です。
Well
やは
done.
り
You're
あなたは
splendid.
素晴らしい。
If I just say illusions to illusions, I can solve everything. Wow, it's
初
amazing.
めから危ういゲームだっ
A
た。
risky game from the start.
もしもあいつがそれでも死に顔を見たいと言って踏み入っていたな
What
ら
if the guy really wanted to see
Ghosty.
that dead face anyway and just stepped inside?
それが運命に身を委ねるということなのです。
That's what it means to abandon oneself to fate. You're lost from all that? I mean, he just said, what if he really wanted to see that dead face anyway and stepped inside? That should be a hint as to what's happening. That should be your hint. Will is saying the how done it in a way that would please Beatrice. Yeah, it's a silly way to describe it though. But it does clearly indicate the solution for each of them. Let's see. I can't scroll back far enough to go to the first one. It's all in like vague metaphors, but they kind of work. That's what your roulette is, right? Oh, that kinda works. Let's continue. Second game, first Twilight. Six with their stomachs split in the closed room chapel. Illusions to illusions. The gold truth locks the lock of illusions. Some of these we even already had puzzles for, or answers for. Second game, second Twilight. The two who are close cannot even be close as corpses. This one should be easy. Illusions who have fulfilled their role do not leave a corpse behind. Hint, canon isn't real. Like, second game, fourth, fifth, and sixth Twilight. In Natsuhi's closed room, none are left alive. No one would dispute a coffin is a closed room. Second game, seventh, eighth Twilight. Two sliced to death by a red-eyed illusion. Illusion, no illusion can create a corpse. Ah, yes. Yeah, they're talking about the second chapter. You might have to go a bit further on. They're gonna go through all of the hints for all of them, though. Every time the blade passed through Claire's body, the golden flower petals flew everywhere. The petals covering her heart were being torn away bit by bit. The illusion of the witch was breaking down and becoming flower petals. Third game, first Twilight. So, chapter 3, first Twilight. 6 corpses connected by linked rooms. Illusions to illusions. In a closed room ring, the end at the beginning overlap. Yep. Third game, second Twilight. Corpses of mother and child lay together in the rose garden. Earth, no falsehoods in their final moments as told. Third game, fourth, fifth, sixth Twilights. 3 corpses in the mansion. Earth, no falsehoods in their final moments as told. Third game, seventh and eighth Twilights. Husband and wife lay exposed under the arbor. Earth to earth. The obvious culprit wields a mutable blade. It was pretty obvious. Fourth game, first Twilight. The massacre sweeps through the dining hall. Illusions to illusions. Tales woven by the gold truth return to illusions. Fourth game, second Twilight. 2 youths face a trial and pass away together. Illusions to illusions. Tales woven by the gold truth return to illusions. Running out of illusions. Fourth game, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth Twilight. None of the runaways are left alive. Earth to earth, illusions to illusions. Silent corpses adorned by fiction. That's an interesting line. Silent corpses adorned by fiction. Fourth game, ninth Twilight.
誰も生き残れは
and
しない。
none shall be left alive.
土は土に、幻は幻に、虚構は猫箱に閉ざされることで真実となる。
Fiction shut up inside a cat box becomes the truth. Alright. Gonna go to game 5 and 6. Over and over again, Claire's body was sliced by the pitch black sword. As proof, the chapel was now filled with golden flower petals that danced like gold snow. Beautiful. Who wouldn't want their last moments to be like that? Weirdly enough, it only covers the left 2/3 of the screen. The golden snow is like a confetti at the finale of a show. The curtains were finally falling on the stage that was her. And one final question. Sure. Oh, that's a nice piece. Claire slowly raised her hands. That's not bad. The sword she held became golden rose petals and melted away. She stood there arms wide, waiting for the final strike. Who am I?
幻は幻に、
Illusions to illusion.
約束された死神は魔女の意志を問わずに物語に幕を下ろす。
The promised reaper lowers the curtains on his tail regardless of the witch's will. The pitch black blade that Will swung high cut down Claire's form. Ripperoni Claire. She disintegrate? No, she's gonna have some final words. What do we got? At the same time, she was blown away by a gust of wind. Her human form crumbled in an instant, becoming a storm of golden flower petals and was torn apart. After she was blown away, a golden heart remained in midair, but it too was swallowed by a torrent of wind and broke down into flower petals. The gold torrent of wind swirled around the chapel, and then the swirl of petals scattered out of existence and vanished. A few remaining petals danced around like snowflakes. The final vestiges decorated the chapel beautifully. And a beam of light lit the center of the stage. There stood Claire, whose tale had ended, and softly, slowly, she faced the audience and bowed. Applause spread throughout the room. The long, long tale she had just finished telling was being given a massive applause. It went on and on and on and on. The stage slowly sunk into the darkness of oblivion, and behind the darkness and the curtain, Claire continued bowing in front of unending applause and disappeared. People are born with sin and live life to obtain forgiveness from someone, or perhaps they're born with riddles and live life searching for someone to solve them. Here, all her riddles have been solved, leaving no lingering regrets behind. People are riddles, and they want someone to solve their riddle. They live life wanting someone to solve the riddle that they are the most difficult riddle in the world. They want someone to look at the riddle they are, and they want that person to solve it. For her, that wish was granted. Her soul will wander no longer. Sleep in endless peace in your catbox coffin. Ripperoni Claratrice. Alright. Though there had been so many golden flower petals flitting about like a blizzard, not a single one remained. Everything became dust, vanishing as though there had been nothing there in the first place, and all was silent once more. Come to think of it, even the sound of the rain is gone. The rain must have stopped at some point.
あいつはお前に会えたことだけが救いだ。
Meeting you was her salvation.
そうだといいのですが。
You hope so?
逃れられぬ袋小路の運命と自らを呪い 諦めきっていた。
She cursed herself and her inescapable dead-end fate and gave
そ
up.
んなあいつにとって、お前という幸せな奇跡に出会えたことは、何よりもの救いになった。
Meeting you, a happy miracle in her eyes, saved her in a way nothing else
だ
could.
から、そんな顔
Don't
を
make
する
that
な。
face. Don't make that face. Burn Castell, Witch of Miracles, actually providing a miracle for someone. What are the odds she actually does that? It would seem low, but she's actually doing an okay job, I guess.
お前にしちゃ、粋な計らいだったな。
That was a pretty tasteful ending for you. Yeah, very tasteful. What's going on? I'm suspicious.
私はアウアウから葬儀の執り行いを任されただけ。
Only told me to carry out the funeral.
あんたという進行役を呼んで、すべてを任せただけだけれど。
I pretty much just called being a facilitator, you, and let you do everything. Yeah, he called the facilitator and was like, you do it. Thanks, Will.
私がクレルに代わって、あなたに感謝します。
In Claire's place, I want to thank you. That's right. Ow, ow. Upgraded, ow, ow. Featherine.
異なる運命の私の未練を、すべて断ち切ってくれて。
Thanks for cutting off all the lingering regrets of a me and a different fate.
お前はもっと頭を抱えて混乱すると思っていた。
I thought I'd see more head clutching and panic from you. It seems she's not related to Rudolph. That must be why Battler does so much head clutching and panic.
もう私は理
It
解
can't
して
be
います。
Rudolph. It's not Rudolph, it's who is it supposed to be? Asumu? Kyrie? I don't fucking know. Featherine Aurora?
私がいかに
Can't be the Kinzo relation. It's gotta be the Beatrice in her that keeps her sane. Her sane. I understand now. I realize how happy my life has
何かの
been.
運命に翻弄され、異なる世界を生きていたなら、
If fate toyed with me,
私は同じ運命に
if I was
黒
living
子
in
にいた
another
かも
world,
しれない。
I might have gotten stuck in the same dead-end
しか
fate.
し私はとてつもなく低い確率の幸運の
Thanks
中
to
か
an
ら
extremely improbable bit
今
of
の
good
世
luck,
界に生きている
I live in this world.
その価値と意味を教えられましたから。
I now know how much it's means and how much it's worth.
何
What's up?
意外そうな顔し
Why
て。
the surprised look? He's disappointed that Burn Castell isn't shitting all over everyone.
魔女にろくな奴はいないってのが俺の持論だったが、
I thought decent witches didn't exist.
改める必要があるかもな。
I might have to change that theory.
いいわよ、改めないで。
Don't worry, no need to change it.
私は退屈しのぎのためにあの子のゲームに乗った。
I only joined that kid's game to kill some time.
そして負けはしたけれど楽しく遊ばせてもら
So I
った。
lost. I enjoyed
あ
playing.
の子はそのゲーム版を畳まずに言ってしまった。
That kid died without folding up her game board.
私は遊ばせてもらった礼と敗者の務めとして最後の片付けを引き受けただけよ。
I just took charge of cleaning up as thanks to her for letting me play because it's the loser's duty.
てっきりもっとひでえことをすると
I
思
was
って
sure you'd
た
be a
が、
lot crueler than this.
ひどいこと？
Crueler?
心をないがしろにしたもっとひでえゲームを見せると思っていた。
I thought it'd be a cruel game that neglects the heart.
ひどいゲームにした。
It was a cruel game.
あの子がファンタジーだと称するゲームを
For though she claimed the game was
あん
fantasy,
たという探偵を連れてきてミステリーで終わらせたわ。
I brought you along and made it end as a mystery.
魔女幻想は見事に砕け散って私のささやかな仕返しはおしまい。
The illusion of the witch has been spectacularly crushed, and my little bit of revenge is complete.
この絡まった恋の物語を絶対の意志で終わらせる。
This tale of intertwined loves ends thanks to an absolute and certain
そ
willpower.
の絶対の意志に絶対の魔女が微笑んであの子を2日間だけの魔女にした。
Out of respect for that certain willpower, the Witch of Certainty made that kid a witch for just 2 days.
私はその2日間という限られた時間の中だけで無限に広がる万華鏡を楽しませてもらった。
Within this limited span of 2 days, I've been able to enjoy an endless kaleidoscope.
私は祝福しないから奇跡は起きない。
I won't bestow my favor, so no miracle will occur.
でもその結末さえもあの子が望んだものよ。
However, even this ending is something that child wished for.
無限の物語は一体どの真実で本当は終わったんでしょう。
I wonder which truth actually lay at the end of this endless tale. Oh no, if only there was another chapter.
さあな。
Who knows?
それを決めつけないのが
Not
猫
being
箱
able to
って
say
もの
that for sure. It's what makes it a cat box.
開けば屋敷は跡形も残らず
When you open the box, you get a tale where no trace of the mansion remains and no one except Eva survives.
エヴァは何も語らず死んだ以上、すべては猫箱の中。
Now that Ava's died without saying anything, all the truth is inside the cat box. Endless possibilities, all kept within a limited box.
こうして思うと、
Now that I think about
彼
it,
女が生きて、そして死んだ島そのものが黄金鏡だったのかもしれません
maybe
ね。
the whole island where she lived and died was the Golden Land?
猫箱を黄金鏡と呼ぶならね。
If you call a cat box a Golden Land, that
そ
is.
してその猫箱の中で考えうる最も楽しい物語をバトラは書いたわ。
By the way, Battler wrote up the most fun tale imaginable of the inside of the cat box.
ベアトリーチェの棺に収められた
Being the book in the
その本
coffin.
そうよ。
That's right.
彼が思い描いた彼女が最も幸せな物語。
It's the happiest possible tale for her, which he thought up himself.
とても楽しくて、
It was a
愛
fun,
に満ちた。
love-filled, happy tale.
私もあの物語が棺には一番ふさわしいと思います。
I also think that tale was the most fitting one to put in her coffin.
いや
Wrong.
違うクレルは言ったぜ
You heard Claire?
お前という存在が彼女の希望であり
You're her hope and
救いなど
salvation.
お前がこれからも幸せであることが
More than
何よ
anything
り
else,
もの
you living on in happiness will be her salvation.
はい。
Right, right.
幸せに生きなさい。
Live
あ
happily.
んたはただそれだけであの子の奇跡
That's
な
all
の
you
だ
need to
から
do to be that kid's miracle.
はい。
Yeah.
彼女の分も
I'll live
幸せに
happily
生き
enough
ます。
for the both of us.
よくこいつを
I'm
見つけ出し
surprised
た
you
な
find that kid. I'm more surprised she's not revealing that they're gonna have a
膨
horrible
大な
fate.
海の中から
Didn't you have to search
200何
through
万高の中から探し出したのか
about 200,000 of them in the vast sea?
私ごときにできることなんてせいぜいその程度のことよ。
Those trivialities are all I am capable of.
これで葬儀
Now
は
the
おしま
funeral's over.
い。約束通り結界は解いたわ。
As promised, I've released the
あんた
barrier.
が立ち去れば時間も元通りに動き出す。
Once you leave, time will start moving again like normal.
これでお役御免か
You're done with us
早
now?
く帰らねえとダイアナがまたカーテンを引っかき出
If I don't
す
get back quickly, Diana will start scratching the curtains.
短い間でしたが、お世話になりました。
We weren't together long, but thanks for your help.
あばよ
So
異な
long,
る幾百万
Be
の
happy.
自分たちの代わりに
for the sake of the hundreds of
幸せに
thousands
なりな
of other yous. You're feeling some bad NJ Meat vibes. When he left the chapel, a beautiful after-rain sky stretched out above him. The sky, which was a mix of rain clouds, gaps of sunlight, and the tint of twilight, had a beauty to it that couldn't be described in words. Will slowly descended the stone stairs, stepping through puddles, and then he waved without looking back and left the chapel behind. His form and footprints gradually faded until there was no trace left.
じゃあ私も消えるわ。
Time for me to disappear too.
さよなら、リオン。
Goodbye, Leon.
あなたにもお世話になりました。
I have to thank you as
あ
well.
なたに心ないことを言った気がします。
I believe I said some fairly inconsiderate things to you.
申し訳ありませ
You
んでし
have
た。
my apologies.
あなたは私にとても大切なことを教えてくれました。
You taught me something very important.
何か
What is it?
ううん、何も。
It's nothing.
感謝されるなんて100年ぶりだから。
It's been a
なんて
century
返
since
事をす
anyone
ればいい
thanked
か
me. I
戸
wasn't
惑
sure
っ
how
た
to
だけ。
respond. Berncastel shrugged and then floated up into the air. Then she looked up at the beautiful 7 colors of light shining through the stained glass and spoke as though someone was looking down on her from there.
アウアウローラ、
Aurora,
これで答え合わせには十分でしょ。
was that enough of an answer check for you?
これでわからないなら、傍観者の魔女どもを集めて、お茶会でも開いて、他の魔女の推理でも拝聴したら？
If you still don't get it, why not gather the other observer witches and have a tea party or something? Then you can listen to their theories.
私は意地悪だから、これ以上を詳しくはやらない。
I mean, so I won't go further than
考
this.
えぬ魔女はいない。
There's no witches who
な
don't
ぜな
think.
ら、考えぬ魔女は死ぬか
After
海
all-
の木図なんだもの。
Witches who don't think either die or turn to seaweed.
さあ、これから戻って、
Yes.
あんたの推理がどの程度当たってたかを魚に。
Now you can look back and have a drink while seeing how much of your theory was right.
もう悪役もミコも疲れたわ。
I'm tired of playing the bad guy and of being a Miko.
私もこれで
You're done with
お
me
役
now.
ごじゃあね、リオン。
Bye,
そ
Leon.
して傍観者の魔女たち。
And bye to you too, observer witches. Berncastel burst and disappeared. A single golden flower petal glittered. Leon picked it up. It was the only trace of a miracle that remained in this chapel. At that time, cheery voices could suddenly be heard. It was the relatives. They came out of the waiting room one by one.
リオン、ここにいたのですか。
So this is where you were, Leon.
探しましたよ。
I was looking for you.
母さん、
Oh, Mom.
申し訳ありません。
My apologies.
少し考え事をしていま
I
し
was
た。
thinking about something.
やっと雨が上がったみたいやな。
Looks like the rain's finally
いい
stopped.
天気みたいや。
Finally some good weather.
皆さん方、
Everyone,
屋敷へ戻ろうじゃないかね。
let's return to the mansion. Starts sweating nervously.
これでベアトリーチェの葬儀は終了だそうだ。
I've been told Beatrice's funeral is over.
お父さん、当主様は？
Dad, where's the head?
今来るぜ。
He'll be here in a second.
今日は散々だったな。
Day was pretty
親
crazy.
父の葬式ごっこに付き合うのも疲れるぜ。
Playing along with Dad's little funeral show was a real pain.
そんなこと言っちゃダメよ
You shouldn't say。that.
大事なセレモニーだったわ。
It was an important ceremony.
そうね。
That's
お
right.
父様にとって大切な儀式だったと
I
思
think it
うわ
was。important for Father.
私お腹空いちゃったわ。
I'm starving.
ゴーダさん、何か作れない？
Go, do you think you could cook something up for us?
はい、
Yes, ma'am.
すぐにお茶のご用意をいたします。
I'll prepare some tea at once.
リオンはどこか。
Where's Leon?
肩を貸せ。
Lend me a hand.
当主様、ただい
Oh,
ま。
family head. Here you are. As Kinzo came in after the others, Leon ran up to him.
今日は一日ご苦
Did
労
well
だ。
today.
ベアトリーチェの葬儀はこれで終了である。
Beatrice's funeral is now complete.
はい。ベアトリーチェの魂もきっと救われただろうと思い
I'm
ます。
sure Beatrice's soul was saved.
なぜそうわかる？
How could you know that?
さっきまで私はベアトリーチェと一緒にいました。
I was with Beatrice until a second ago.
そして彼女が未練なく旅立った
I
のを
saw her
見
leave
届け
on
ま
her
した。
journey with no
だから
regrets.
わかりま
That's
す。
how I know.
私がそれを保証します。
I guarantee it.
そうか。お前が言うなら間違いはある
You
な。
say it, it must be so. It must be so. The relatives left the chapel one by one, and Leon left too, giving Kinzo a shoulder to lean on. A beam of sunlight peeked through the clouds, looking like a staircase leading to heaven. Chapter 7 has reached its ending. There we go. That was actually some really good timing, honestly, because it's the perfect time now for us to stop. We're going to have to finish that tea party and the witch's tea party next time. But, what an ending! Perfectly smooth. Almost everything's resolved. I have an idea of what they're going to do for Chapter 8. Let's see the new title screen. I'm not going to give up now. New title screen? Okay. There's a new title screen. We'll continue this next time.